Nice and easy. We're done with that though. Isn't the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall out of my hands. Finish my protein shake, then we'll hit this. New name, who this? Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, my name is BullMuscle. For those of you who know me as Beer Battered Ag, yes, I'm going through a rebrand. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm a die-hard Aggie.
The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chiggaroo-garem, rock tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye.
We get a little bit more all. So why can't I click all? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Nice. Alright, let's do one more bronze bar. If you adopt the mindset, and this is a quote from Jacob Fisker of Early Retirement Extreme, if you know that guy, 10 points to you. But it's a quote that I find unbelievably poignant in today's era. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. I'm gonna repeat that. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. That's painful. But yes, my friends, pure protein, as theirs makes no difference. From raw egg whites. It's disgusting. The taste is vile, and it smells. But 100. Yeah, my poor roommate has to deal with the farts that come from this, and as you might imagine, they're not pleasant. But let me go ahead and knock this bad boy down. Oh, that's vile. Yep, nice and easy. We're done with that though. Isn't the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall out of my hands. Finish my protein shake, then we'll hit this. New name, who this? Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, my name is BullMuscle. For those of you who know me as Beer Battered Ag, yes, I'm going through a rebrand. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm a die-hard Aggie.
The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chiggaroo-garem, rock tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye.
We get a little bit more all. So why can't I click all? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Nice. Alright, let's do one more bronze bar. If you adopt the mindset, and this is a quote from Jacob Fisker of Early Retirement Extreme, if you know that guy, 10 points to you. But it's a quote that I find unbelievably poignant in today's era. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. I'm gonna repeat that. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. That's painful. But yes, my friends, pure protein, as theirs makes no difference. From raw egg whites. It's disgusting. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Sorry about that nature call.
Got a great show for you all today. Go ahead and do some bench. Gonna be a good time. Getting social over here for just a moment while I do the jump rope, get warmed up. How you doing, Big Game Mikey? I'll give you a shout out in about an hour or so whenever we actually have people in here so they can fucking follow you. Because I want you to get your ass to affiliate. That's happening. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't give a fuck. Ah, come on. Good enough. We got bench today. It's gonna be a good one. And I'm actually in an even better mood than normal. I'm always pretty happy to be in here lifting, even on days I'm not feeling the best. But today, I'm feeling particularly good because you can tell by the title, I've been doing my yearly review. And for anybody who doesn't do that for their own life, I highly recommend it. Set goals at the beginning of the year and see how you did at the end. I love New Year's for this exact reason. Turn that off so it doesn't blow up my phone battery. There we go. So, this year has been nothing short of extremely successful in basically every single aspect. There have been a few places where I've come up short, but fewer this year than in any other year I have recorded. I've been setting and tracking yearly goals since 2016, and I've never ever been this successful. So, it's been good. I can talk a little bit more about it. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about it on probably on the stream on the 31st, but suffice it to say it's been excellent. Not going to give everything away, but in almost every single year, I was struggling to hit 50% of my goals. Last year was the first time I ever cracked 60%, and I think this year I might just crack 70, which is huge. Was that to show off? You damn well right it was. All right, so today we got 8, and actually we only got 3 by 8. I don't know why I got 4 listed in here. It's gonna be an easy workout. Lovely, 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 lovely. So we did it at 235 for 10s. We should have no issue with 240 for 8s. And it's supposed to be at 65%, so I'm moving my targets to what I want to max instead of what I have maxed. And that's 235 at 65%. So let's go 240. I'd rather be on the higher end than the lower end. I think that's probably pretty reasonable, especially for only hitting 8s. Hitting 8s is easier than hitting 10s, of course, as you know. They sent me the SF86 for Puget today, so that's moving forward. That'll take a few months. Pearl's a little bit further behind. Of course, they operate on island time, so this is to be expected. Frankly, I kind of like that, but I think Puget wants me out there probably closer to like March, April. I think Pearl's like, yeah, come out here this summer, in the fall, I don't really care. Which I kind of dig. No, I feel like
I don't know. Part of me fucks with that. Part of me would get really frustrated, but I gotta imagine. Even out at Pearl, they do things faster than they do it here. I can promise you that because Department of Defense is more efficient than Department of Energy. The DOE's poorly run. I have a lot of negative things to say about the Department of Energy, and particularly the National Nuclear Security Administration, if I'm honest. I get why the NNSA does what they do, but there is, I think, a very big difference in the nuclear term ALARA, which is as low as reasonably achievable. I think the regulator's definition of reasonable and an actual nuclear engineer's definition of the word reasonable are very different. But that's just me. In other good news, I don't know if anybody else saw, good old Kilo posted this in my server. The Japanese have finally started ramping up, restarting all their old nuclear power plants. They figured out that, yeah, okay, Fukushima was bad, but you can't take out 50% of your nation's energy supply overnight and expect it to be replaced with fairy dust, which is what they tried to say, oh, it'll be carbon neutral, we'll replace it all with wind and solar. That's not how that works. So, Japanese have come to their senses, frankly, on that one. In general, I love Japanese society, and the Japanese have a very good nuclear program. TEPCO was fucking ignorant on not moving their backup diesel generators, but for them to have shut down almost all of their nuclear power plants for even a decade is insanity. So I'm very glad the Japanese came to their senses. Jay Guy, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you very much for the sub. I do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you. How are you doing, Jay Guy? All right, we're gonna do a Larson press here. So for those of you who don't know, right, so we're just doing 3 sets of bench, but the Larson press is a bench press where you're putting your feet out here. Now, why would you do this? Why would you do a bench press where your feet are not on the ground? What it does is it eliminates... Oh, you're Jigaman. Cool. Well, welcome back, Jigaman. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Good to see you. Yeah, I know you've changed your name a couple of times, so it's good to see you again. Wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, the reason one would do a Larson press is because the Larson press eliminates leg drive. For higher rep sets, you don't want to really be Larson pressing triples. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't think it's quite as useful. But for higher rep sets, really anything above 6, Larson press can be a good way to really work on building the chest muscles and isolating the chest muscles. So it's somewhat of an isolation variant on an existing exercise. But yeah, credit to the Japanese for getting their heads out of their asses, and also for releasing radioactive wastewater into the Pacific. People are going to sit there and bitch and moan about it, but that wastewater has been treated multiple times. It's not toxic anymore. And all the countries that are complaining about it are the biggest water polluters on Earth. China. China, you can't dump all those toxic industrial chemicals from your coal-fired power plants like fly ash into the Huanghe and the Yangtze rivers and then complain when the Japanese do a tiny bit of wastewater dumping that's already been cleaned. Ridiculous. Not bad. It's exactly what someone in the nuclear industry would say. Yes, because I actually understand nuclear science. Most people don't. Look, the entire reason the Fukushima accident even happened was because they were forced to shut down the power plant.
rather paradoxically, had they not shut down the Fukushima nuclear power plant during the earthquake and tsunami out of an abundance of caution, they would not have had to rely on the diesel generators to keep the fuel rods cool. And if they hadn't relied on the diesel generators to keep the fuel rods cool, the loop would have continued to service itself. It was above the tsunami flood zone, which means it would have continued operating perfectly fine. Oh, Jigga Man, or J Guy, sorry, whichever you prefer, which I assume is now J Guy. Thank you very much for gifting Big Game Mikey a sub. It's very nice of you. By the way, Jigga, very nice. ENB, can we get a hats off for ENB? 60% savings rate. Welcome to the club, bruh. J Guy, by the way, for those of you who don't know, and oh, all right, we got people in here now. I'm going to give a shout out to Big Gay Mikey. My man, Big Gay Mikey's going through a career change right now, and he's learning a lot of new skills like SQL, and I really, really want to support that. He's trying to reinvent himself, and he's streaming a lot of the learning and training he's doing live. He's pretty close to affiliate, y'all, so please go give him a follow. If you see him live, just watch him. All it's got to take is, I think, 3 people on average for him to get to affiliate. I want to see it happen, so guys, let's make it fucking happen. Go give him a follow. But let's also give credit, hats off to ENB for joining the illustrious North of 50% Club and the North of 60% Club in 1 year. That's fantastic. So it's been a banner year for ENB 2002 Incorporated too, I see. Congratulations. Good for you. I think my net adjusted savings rate for this year is 82%. Oh my gosh, Jay Guy, I'm being extremely generous today with all the subs. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's very much appreciated. But wow. Yeah, 60%. Okay, so using the 4% withdrawal rule and assuming average returns of 7% post-inflation, ENB, if you continue, if this was your first year making, real full-time money, and you save 60% of your income, you'll be able to retire in under 15 years. Congratulations. And I assume, based on the discipline I know you have, that number is only going to climb. So congratulations, good for you. ENB, that's about where I was in 2017 and 2018. So you are doing very, very well. I'm proud of you. I love to see it. I love to see it. All right. Second set of bench, I'm going to actually bump it up to 245. 240 went up easy on the Larson, so I think 245 should be no real problem for 8 reps on bench where I can actually activate a leg drive. Right, you don't want to be relying on leg drive, but you also, right, it's not cheating yourself to use a bit of leg drive. That's the rules. You're allowed to do it. Does the weight come down, touch your chest without bouncing off your chest, and come back up? Doesn't really specify what you have to do with your lower legs. Right, nobody sits there and says, bro, what's your max on Larson press? Nobody does that. Morning, Big Red. Hey, Dodge, good to see you. Streaking at the office. Yeah, I imagine it's probably a pretty slow day for you at the office, so stick around. But hey, Jay Guy, thank you so much for the gift subs. That is unbelievably generous of you. It's always appreciated, never expected, never demanded. And thank you so very much. And Happy New Year to you if this is the last time I see you. Today, UK, hold that tiger, hold that tiger, hold that tiger. I assume that means they're playing either Missouri, Auburn, or LSU. There are too many Tiger teams in basketball. Or Clemson, maybe. There are entirely too many basketball teams. Thank you. I'm hoping to achieve a 70% savings rate next year. I say that's a fantastic goal, and I think you can get it. I think 2019 was the first. I'll have to go back and check. I think 2019. Oh, you're playing Clemson in football today. Hey, good luck. I'm rooting for UK. I actually like Clemson. I know Dodger doesn't. But in general, I've had pretty good experience with Clemson fans because a lot of what Clemson does, they kind of aped off of Texas A&M. So annoyingly, what's kind of sad is that Clemson, in many ways, has been more successful, especially in football, has been more successful than A&M. Today's the Gator Bowl. But ENB, 70% savings rate next year. You freaking got that. I think that's a fantastic goal. I think you can get it. I love seeing how efficiently you have set up and designed your life. I think you are going to be one of the most successful people I have met on Discord for a reason. You're doing it all right, bro. I respect it. Snakey, you, good to see you. My savings rate, for what it's worth, I'm not trying to, okay, yeah, I am trying to flex a little bit. My savings rate this morning when I calculated it was in between 82 and 83%. Big Red, what the hell happened to A&M? Typical A&M things. Our third string quarterback, which when you're talking about your third string quarterback starting, you know it's been a bad year. Our third string quarterback broke his arm on the first play of the game from scrimmage. So that's what you call not a good sign. Now, actually, to his credit, Marcel Reed, the fourth string quarterback, balled out. But if you're in a situation where you're talking about the performance of your fourth string quarterback, the season has not gone well. No matter what you're talking about. Something has gone wrong if you have to analyze the performance of your fourth string quarterback in a game. Literally all three quarterbacks starting before Marcel Reed got hurt this year. Max Johnson transferred out, but he was also hurt. Our offensive line is abysmal. Thank you. Another goal is to exercise more. So we'll probably set firmer goals related to that in 2024. This is actually something I want to mention. So the goals, I'm going to do my 99 smithing party on December 31st in the morning. That'll be after we do the Truth or Drink stream on the 30th. But until then, I'm going to be starting to work on my 2024 goals. I'd like to share them with y'all. I feel like if you share your goals with people, they're more likely to get some traction. So now I don't necessarily force myself to only have goals written out and completed by December 1st. Life changes happen, and you should be able to modify your goals somewhat. Obviously, you can't just take away goals you're failing at. That's not correct. But you have to exercise careful and thoughtful judgment. Here's what I call UKDH football at noon, men's basketball. Wow, all right, you got the doubleheader indeed. Just made my day. All right, Zombies, we'll appreciate that. Good to know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get another set here, and then we'll keep talking. This is fairly cold in here, actually. I'm still not all that warm, so we gotta fix that. Yeah. All right. But yeah, my savings rate this year was in between 82 and 83% of my income. My spending in almost every category is down this year. Even though my charitable contributions have more than doubled, which I'm absolutely thrilled by. It has been a banner year in almost every sense of the term for me. It's been very good. All right. Easy. That came up way too easy. We're going 250. Open your legs. Bro, if you think I'm focusing about where my legs are at while I'm benching, I think your priorities are a bit misplaced. No offense. I get it.
I know what you're getting at. Be a little bit more subtle. That felt pretty easy. I'll try 250. Let's see. So do wide grip after this. Again, I gotta say, that went up a lot easier than I expected it to. Which is good. That's what we wanted to do. Clemson's close to me family-wise. Great uncle Bill Stanfill and his wife live in Greenwood. You know, Greenwood's not that far from me. It's about maybe an hour up the road. Indeed, lightweight. That was 245. That wasn't bad at all. Majority of his boys went to Clemson, including his. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's 34 degrees. Ooh, actually 34. You know, be 34 in the morning where you're at. That's actually probably above average, I would think. That's not too bad. It is actually fairly cold here this morning. It is 40. Slightly below average temps for today. Gonna get back up to average. I think the high's only supposed to get into the 50s today. Usually the high in December is about 60. Days where we don't break into the 50s are pretty rare in South Carolina. So we're gonna have, I think, looks like this coming week, we're gonna have one day where it gets below freezing, but that's gonna be about it. And it's gonna be, yeah, I was about to say the Midwest has had y'all had a bizarrely warm Christmas. Apparently it was something, I heard it hit 50 in Minneapolis. Now look, 50 is not necessarily a warm temperature, but 50 in December in Minnesota is absolutely it. That is a phenomenally warm temperature, almost a dangerously warm temperature. Minnesota should not be that warm in December. That is quite odd. I guess really the correct way to phrase that is Minnesota should be not that. Minnesota should be far, far colder. It's an El Nino year. Still, I mean, that's as may be, but even in an El Nino year, y'all shouldn't be, the upper Midwest should not be getting temperatures of what they've been getting. I'm sure y'all are welcome, you know, I'm sure y'all are happy with it, but like, yeah, that is bizarre. I don't want to ascribe that to climate change because again, temporary weather patterns do not necessarily point to climate change, but those are some bizarre numbers to be seeing in the upper Midwest, no matter what you say. You know, that's just, it's a strange thing to see. So, all right, we got one more set of this, and then we've got 2 sets on wide grip. We're rolling along right here. It's not too bad. Again, this is pretty easy so far. You measure climate change of 30 years. Yes. Yeah, climate change happens over decades. Individual weather happens within days. Now, obviously, you know, there's variance in things like hurricanes. There's variance in things like you know, sea level rise. There's variance in things like, you know, all of that, sea temperatures. Like, right, Miami, I think this summer in 2023 had record-breaking temperatures. Like the water temperature hit over 100 at one point. That's, even for Miami, extremely unusual. People love to attribute peaks to climate change. I hate it when people do that. Now, when you're hitting, so that's the thing, when you're hitting record after record after record, year after year after year, to me, that's a climate change sign. It's like walking a dog. You are the trend, the dog is the weather. That's actually a really good metaphor. Yes, I like that. That's quite a good metaphor. I like that quite a lot. But yeah, spending-wise, finances have never looked better right now. I've started to do a little bit of portfolio rebalancing, tax loss harvesting. I'm going to do the majority of that today. City on foot, the corals just died in Miami, which is a bad sign because that reef helps prevent
it helps slow down hurricanes. It acts as a speed bump. And Miami certainly doesn't need to be any more hurricane prone. The fact that Miami is building more and more and more, if I were a real estate investor, I would stay the fuck out of Florida right now. It's such a bad idea. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Big Red, yeah, I saw that. Alabama versus Michigan. Now, this is a hot take. I know a lot of people feel differently, but my mom went there. You don't go against your mom or roll tide. I actually don't hate Michigan. I got nothing against them. And I wouldn't be that mad if Michigan won. Really, the only outcome I am desperately hoping doesn't occur is Texas winning it all. If that happens, y'all are probably not going to hear from me for a little while. If that happens, I may just decide to stop paying attention to college football for a couple of years. I don't want to repeat 2005. No, I do actually want Alabama to win it all for more than just my mom having gone there. The biggest reason is that it would make all the assholes on r/CFB as miserable about college football as I am, and they deserve that pain because r/CFB is a cancerous, disgusting mass of the dumbest takes, and it deserves nothing but misery. I absolutely despise r/CFB. So really, Reddit as a whole is pretty terrible. There are a lot of smaller subreddits that are really good, and there is even one that I'm a big part of, a small part of in r/CFB ball, which is so much better, but r/CFB is just fucking miserable. So, JJ Gonzalez, good to see you. All right. Let me get ready with our third set here. So you just gotta go for 8. This is 250. And there are some people, by the way, I'm not making that an indictment of the mods on r/CFB. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the mods on r/CFB, not all of them. But it's the users, it's the individual people on r/CFB that are fucking terrible. That entire server, it's awful. It's really bad. Okay. All right, come on. All right, so now we go to wide bench. Did that at 200 for 10 last time. I think we'll try it at 215 and see how that feels. This is supposed to be RP6 to RP7. Should not be all that hard. So if it's really difficult, we'll go down leg. But I don't feel like 200 was really difficult last time. How you doing, JJ? Let's see, what else did we do on the 3x10 day? Let's see, what did we do 3x10? All right. All right. Cool. So we're gonna do wide bench, we'll do incline bench, probably some pull-ups, some curls. We'll talk finances, but that'll be good. This will be a good workout. So we'll go wide bench here. Easy. Not bad. I don't need a sugar daddy to fund me. I'm a nuclear engineer. I pay for my own life. Nah. The trophy for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I don't know, I didn't see that. I've really tried paying very little attention to college football. Because again, every time I do, I watch our third string quarterback get a broken arm on the first fucking play. Good morning. Hey, Swole CC. Good to see you. Let me give you a shout out. Hey, Swole CC. Go give Swole CC a follow. She's pretty great. She's one of the other fantastic fitness and health streamers on this wonderful platform. Strongly recommend giving her a look-see. A lot of good advice there. Good morning to you. So, we're rolling wide bench right now. Already got one set done. Only got one more set to go. We're only doing two. This is not quite a deload week, but almost. As far as sugar daddies are concerned, Zombie, it's funny you mentioned that because every so often, actually, I say every so often, it's pretty frequent, people come on here and start calling me daddy, which is something, I don't mind it, but it's definitely gotten some getting used to. Mascot went down a toaster and became an edible trophy. That's corporate America, everybody. Tune out that nonsense. What good comes of following stuff like this? I just look, A&M, if you want me to start giving a damn again, you've gotta give me something. I can't just give you my undying loyalty forever without seeing some fucking results. I think that's a fair thing to ask at this point. We have, A&M has, as near as makes no difference, the most resources, if not top 5 level resources. Top 5 level resources in the country. Certainly a top grade fan base. I mean, even our rivals will admit, look, you know, they call us almost a cult in terms of how devoted we are. There's nothing A&M lacks to succeed. There's nothing A&M lacks to succeed. It does not require historical success to be a good football program. It doesn't. Proof of that is, well, why did Florida and Florida State get good in the 90s? They were pretty much afterthoughts until that decade. Same thing with Miami. It does not require being historically successful to become a football powerhouse. However, so a lot of people say, oh, historical success, A&M will never be good. That argument doesn't make sense. The past results do not indicate future success. The Nebraska Cornhuskers are the inverse of this. Highly successful historically, but have not had a good run of it the last few decades. Yo, lab boys, good to see you. Welcome on in. Zombie probably daddy and you being bulk. That's true. I am bulking right now. Weighed in at 222 this morning, which is a little bit ahead of the pace I was trying to set. Of course, with Thanksgiving and Christmas, I always knew the bulk was going to be somewhat dirtier through December. It's going to tighten up. I'm going to probably tighten up on the calorie targets, maybe lower them just a bit to maybe 3,800, 3,900 on bulk or on lifting days, than 3,300, 3,400 on rest days. So running a smaller caloric surplus, something along those lines. Yo, thank you very much, Big Game Mikey, for the lab command. But yes, go check out Lab Boys TV. I know he's working on the second Puerto Rico video. That's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see it. Shoot, I should show you guys my Mofongo shirt. But let's go ahead and get a set going here. So bench been feeling pretty good this morning. Doing 8s, 240 went up easy, 245 went up easy, 250 went up still pretty easy. But we're only doing 3x8 today. The programming's somewhat lighter today. This is the low volume beginning of the second wave. Next week will be 4, 3, 3. This is 3, 2, 2. Next week will be 4, 3, 3. Week after will be 5, 4, 4. So it'll be good. You feeling better, lab? I know you said you were not feeling, you were under the weather for a few days. All right, a little money for nothing on my headphones going here, a little Dire Straits. This is only 215, but it's supposed to be lighter, it's wide grip. Easy. Lightweight. I think I'm gonna try incline at 215, honestly. It did not feel hard at all. I had several more reps in the tank there. Hey, what do you do? Money for nothing and you chicks for free. There comes a point where you get enough strength to where this is easier than racking and unracking. It's a fun time. Refrigerators, we got the movies, color TVs. Yeah, that's on. Hey. Like 95%. Good. We'll lift today and we're hit all you can eat shrimp and red lobster. Freaking send it. Went to the skate park yesterday, they call me Shred Lobster. Bro, I saw some of the PR pics. Your cut came out a lot better than you thought it did. You look great. Seriously. I think if you stick with it, I know it sounds crazy, but I think you stick with it, especially you keep reliably churning out squat days every so often. Keep your core braced when you're doing that, which I know you do. You're gonna see more definition there next time you cut. Nebraska almost reminds me of the Habs and Burgers van was their GM and outdated and dull. No, that's not the problem Nebraska has. The trouble Nebraska has is that, now this Raiola may be the shot in the arm the program has desperately needed. The trouble with the Huskers is that ever since about, 2013, 2014, this has become an increasingly money-centric sport. If you don't have huge amounts of money to compete, it's going to be very difficult. And that's not to say Nebraska doesn't have their fair share of donors. Nebraska is a big program, but Nebraska is a small state. Nebraska is not, in terms of population, Nebraska simply does not have the pull to get a lot of that really high-end talent. Now, historically, Nebraska hasn't always needed it, but even in the 90s, Nebraska was simply recruiting better than they are now because of the success and because Nebraska was such a storied program. So Nebraska, I think, more than, say, any of the Florida schools, any of the Alabama schools, any of the, really any of the schools in the South, that's the other part, right? The Midwest does not have a growing population. Now, some schools have managed to overcome this. Ohio State, Michigan. Granted, Columbus and Ann Arbor are they're two of the very small number of towns in the Midwest that actually are growing. But in general, those Midwestern programs do not have the football base in high school to tap from. I mean, Texas is by far and away the richest talent pool in the United States for high school. Everyone will acknowledge that. Florida and California are second and third. Everybody picks apart California, so if you want to go and recruit in California, you have far more competition there. Nebraska, don't get me wrong, there are some great high school football teams that come out of Nebraska, but in terms of volume, that is a far lower number of players, a far lower talent pool than the best Texas or Florida has to offer, just by sheer size of population alone. And yeah, Nebraska can pull from Kansas, and Missouri, and Iowa, and South Dakota, but even if you add all of those, it's not going to come close to what Texas or Florida can provide. And of course, in Texas, granted you have a whole lot more schools within the state to poach that talent, but it's still a population game at that point. Leaving the Big 12 didn't help either. Leaving the Big 12 was totally understandable. I will never, ever blame Nebraska for doing that. And I don't think that's true. I think if Nebraska had stayed in the Big 12, they'd have had the exact same problems they have now. I don't think the conference that Nebraska was in changed a damn thing. I don't think that mattered at all. And again, Nebraska wasn't the reason that Nebraska left the Big 12. Texas was the reason Nebraska left the Big 12. Let me be unequivocal about that one. In the late 1990s, Texas forced the Oklahoma Sooners to choose between having them, the Cotton Bowl, or not the Cotton Bowl, sorry, their game in the Cotton Bowl, the Red River rivalry, the Red River shootout. They forced Oklahoma to choose between having that every year and having their annual rivalry game with Nebraska every year. Oklahoma chose Texas. Nebraska never, and rightfully so, never forgave Texas for that. And that was the biggest reason Nebraska wanted out of the Big 12. I know because I lived in Nebraska in 2010 and 2011. I remember what people were saying, and to this day, Nebraska really fucking hates Texas, and rightfully so. Missouri hates Texas. Colorado hates Texas. You gotta remember, A&M wasn't the only team that left the Big 12 in those years, and we all left for the same reason. Even Colorado, honestly. Colorado was a little bit of a different situation. They were a really good academic school, and the culture kind of did fit in a little bit. Colorado had changed so much between, say, the 1980s and 2012, 2013, that, yeah, it did make a little bit more sense for them to be a Pac-12 school, but still, it's wild. Texas is responsible for a lot of the changes. Hell, Texas tried to kill the Big 12 on its way out, and they just failed. The Big 12 poached a lot of Pac-12 schools, and ended up getting stronger. Poached BYU, which was a really good pickup. So, anyway, let's go. Here we go, incline, set of 8. Oh, I'm too far back. That's not gonna work. Still too far back. That's better. Easy. Yeah, today's coming up nice. Nice and easy. I think I'll stick to 215 there. Excuse me, just 1 second. Key. Not to be gross, but one of the consequences of getting a second roommate has mean that access to the bathroom isn't always as guaranteed as it used to be, and so I've had to improvise just a bit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blame the Texas Longhorns for every single change that has happened in the college football landscape since 2010, because that's not accurate. The real answer there is the mouse, ESPN. And remember, ESPN is controlled by Disney, so it's the mouse. Money around TV contracts has been the biggest factor. Now, the Longhorns, of course, had the arrogance to create their own TV network when no other university would. There's a certain level of responsibility Texas as a program takes above any other for the changes in the college football landscape. But the overall changes to college football, most of which I feel are extremely unhealthy, are going to damage the sport, and they have been made at a level above that of any individual university. So we got one more set of incline press. I gotta figure out what we're doing next. Give me a sec. So once we're done incline, let's see here. We're doing a jam. What do you do, jam press today? Shoot. All right, curls, pull-ups. I like it. What else do I want to throw in there? That's too easy. I don't really want to do any rows, because rows kind of go with deadlifts. Don't really want to do any press, because we have press day on its own. Could throw in a couple close grip sets. Ooh, I could do dumbbell extensions. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's a good call. That's, I think, a good idea. Yeah. I like it. Alright. That'll be good. We'll do 3x12 on pull-ups. Nothing fancy there. We'll do some curls. I might throw some concentrations in there as well. And just because I like them, we'll do jams. Yeah, it seems good. I like it. That should be real nice. Pull-ups, jams, curls. Throw in some back flies as well, just again, because I like them. Work the delts. All right, let's see here. Get a little ZZ top. The SEAL days, our RSN days, JP Sports is so good. Those days will never be here again. But that's what I'm kind of saying. Don't care about that which you can't control. Ultimately, in some senses, right, these are all businesses. They're all corporations. Yeah, we're attached to them because we spent time as their customer, but that's what you are as a student. Student and customer are basically the same thing in this sense. It's hard to think about it that way, but it's really the case. You have to put aside your emotions when it comes to sports. It's a hard thing to do. I'm still working on it. But anyway, let's go. There are things that just matter more. This is one of them. probably had 2 to 3 more sets of there. I don't think I should go any heavier than 215 on that for the next set next week, but still pretty easy, all things considered. I'll take it. Diamond ring, I'm missing not a single thing. Cufflinks, stick pins. I'm gonna clue you in. They come running just as fast as they can. 'Cause everything hurts, sharp dressed man. Alright. We're gonna do a couple sets of pull ups. I'll do 3 by 12. Hopefully get a little bit of grip strength here. Now pull ups, rather, I guess you could kind of expect this. Pull-ups are the one exercise where when you bulk, in general, your strength on pull-ups declines because you're having to pull substantially more weight with every rep. Oh, I got 31 people in here. Cristiano, good to see you. Health and well-being are more important than UK winning an Addy. Leave the work while studying. Well, all right, as long as your studying isn't too negatively affected. All right. So we're gonna go with 215. So we'll do pull-ups, we'll do jams, move on to curls, back flies, concentration. I like it. Man, that square bar fucking bites on your hands. We'll do 2 more of those. We'll do bicep curls. So what was I curling last time? That was on a barbell. I think I'm gonna go with dumbbells this time. I'd prefer that because I want to do jam alternating. See here. I sort of was doing sets of 15 on curls at one point. Single dumbbell. See if I can find it. Did 5 by 15 on that. I just sworn there at one point I was doing a dumbbell curl in here. Just gotta find it. See here. I guess I'm wrong. I could have sworn I had curls somewhere programmed in here previously as a reference point for what weight I should be curling with for 12s. See if I can find it. Well, I was preacher curling with 80 to 90 at 15. I'm gonna concentration curl after this. Probably wanna go a bit heavier. I'm gonna try 50s, we'll see how that feels. All right, I'm about it. Posting this in fitness too. All right. I don't think I was kipping there. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, I'm sure, but I'm gonna try and go a little bit slower this time, I think. These sets of 12 for pull-ups aren't too hard. Really with this, it's just the challenge is gripping on a square bar just fucking hurts. Like, it actually kind of bruises your palm a little bit. You can kind of see those dark marks right there. Yeah, that's, just have to get hand strength for that. No really other way to do it. All right, let's do that again. You're a bitch and a half to grab onto that square bar. Back was looking good, though. Just like to see. Appreciate it. I'll take a look at it. Thanks. Was the form any different on that second set? Let's see. If I'm doing jam, down these at bench level. Yeah. You're gonna do jams and curls will alternate those. I like it. Feeling better. That rack be shaking. Yeah, it's rickety. But look, I put 400 plus pounds on it, so it'll be fine. I only weigh 220. Well, 222, but who's counting, huh? All right. Biceps were tight this morning. I guess I should have warmed them up a bit before just diving right the fuck into pull-ups. That was probably stupid on my part, but what are you gonna do? Go this way. Damn. Man, that hurts. Ah, I hate the square bar. Yeah. See, it's starting to bruise up my hands right there. By the way, on Wednesday I did deadlifts, and that shit went up so easy. Yo, I'm programming with a theoretical max of 500 pounds. And even at that, the percentages are just coming up and up. Now, I've had struggles with bench and press, and even to a lesser extent squat, coming up the way I wanted it to. But man, deadlift, I'm convinced I got a 500 pounder in me. I want to fucking see it. I think that's gonna be great. All right. Would pads help? Totally, but part of that is developing grip strength in a disadvantageous position, right? I'm not doing pull-ups to maximize muscle. Like, pull-ups are not a strength exercise. They're an endurance exercise more than that. Now, if I had weighted, I'd consider a grip if I had a weighted belt, so you do weighted pull-ups, but as it currently stands, that's not really an option for me. All right, so we got JM press. Now for this, I am putting on the clips, and I say never bench alone without clips. This is only 105 pounds. If I had to, I could scoot it down my body and be just fine. Eastern European guy who does weighted pull-ups is some crazy shit. I used to be able to rep weighted pull-ups with a 45 hanging between my legs. I just don't have that anymore available as an option to me at either here or at the site gym, so I can't do it. I should probably get me a weighted chain belt, to be honest, but it's just not that high on my priorities list at the moment, especially if I end up moving next year. There's not really, there's a limit to what I want to invest further in my gym if I'm going to have to turn around and sell most of my equipment to exit it. Really, it's going to depend on whether or not my roommate buys this place from me, and if he does, what he wants to convey with the house. If he wants to, pay, I'll not add a ton onto what I'm asking for the house price if he wants to keep this, because just not having to go through the pain in the ass of selling it all on Craigslist would be kind of worth it a little bit in my mind, but we'll see where it goes. Anyway, so moving on, we got jam press, curls, back flies, custers. Where are we at? 3, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 21. Yeah, that sounds about right. A little bit lower effort, or a little bit lower volume today, but that'll get ramped back up. Hang on. Let's turn that down a bit. Let's do this. Those skull crushers, now that's JM press. I feel like my form wasn't quite right on those. I'm gonna have to double check it. All right, I'm gonna try 50s for curling. See how that feels. If the form looks ugly, we'll go 40s. I do skull crushers sometimes though, but nah, those weren't skull crushers. JM press is a hybrid between a close grip press and a skull crusher.
Get up there. Cheating on those last few. Decide if I want to stick to 50s or not. I feel like those last few are kind of cheaty. Oh, Jeff Beck passed away? Well, that is a pity. You got it. Heart full of soul. All right, Yardbirds. Oh, this summer? I didn't realize, my apologies. Damn it. Skipped to What's New Pussycat by Tom Jones. Wrong song. Y'all ever heard the, I forget which comedian does it, the What's New Pussycat joke? Let's see. Birds. Heart full of soul. You got it. Hell yeah. Love me a little Yardbirds. Yeah, I might play For Your Love after this, just cause it's a good song. So okay, let me explain a little bit on the difference between, I have to go sideways for this, a close grip bench, a JM press, and a skull crusher. So, skull crusher, right, you've got the bar, they're all in a close-ish grip position, which, you know, looking at it this way, right, you're not gonna have your thumbs quite touching, but you're not going to be that far out. It's going to be maybe about a 12 to 15 inch grip from pinky to pinky. The skull crusher, you're isolating your elbows. You're not moving your shoulders at all. You're not activating your chest. It's entirely a triceps exercise. That's why it's a skull crusher. You're bringing it right to your skull. With a close grip, it's a little bit more down at your chest. It's not quite here, it's here. And you come down, you come up, and you're benching it. It's just your hands are closer in than they would be with a conventional bench. So close grip, skull crusher. A JM is something of a hybrid where you bring it, instead of at your skull or at your chest, it's right at your neck. And you move your elbows somewhat. Your elbows almost want to be, right, you want your forearms to be pretty much perpendicular with the ground. Not perpendicular, parallel with the ground. Right, as opposed to, right, so skull crusher, JM, close grip. See, can you guys see the difference? So the difference is, I hope that's useful. I hope that explains it. Now, predictably, you're going to be able to do a whole lot more with a close grip bench than you are with a JM, and a little more with a JM than you are with a skull crusher, because you're using more muscle in those two, right? So skull crusher is just using your triceps. A JM is primarily triceps, but also a little bit of chest and a little bit of delts. Close grip is a combination, about a 50-50 mix of triceps and chest, with a little bit of delts thrown in for good measure. So let's go for your love now. You got me in a Yardbirds mood. I'll pass on CCR for now. So that's Redeemed. That's a damn good song. Heart Full of Soul is a really good one. I was listening to that while I was explaining it to you. But hopefully that explains the difference between a JM press, a skull crusher, and don't take my word as gospel for how exactly to do a JM press. Some people have said you do the JM press at your skull, but you're just activating your shoulders and your chest as well. So, you know, I've seen some people say, hey, when you JM press, you should be doing, right, that, almost activating your chest a little bit. And some people have said it's better at your neck. I prefer it at my neck than at my skull, but that's I think that's a very minor quibble. Like, I think if you're getting to that level of granularity on form, you know, for an isolation or, you know, endurance, muscle building, variation style movement, I think you're in the right place. I think really the answer is whichever one makes your triceps howl more. Right, the difference of course being you can go, you know, if you bias your JM to be a little bit closer to a close grip bench, you'll be able to JM press more. If you bias it to be closer to a skull crusher, you'll JM press less because you're going to be using less of the auxiliary muscles to move the weight. Are isolation exercises real? I hear that it's not a thing. Yes and no. Some isolation exercises are real, right? So you're never going to 100% isolate a muscle, you know, unless you're electrostimulating, which is a waste of your time. But, right, like, okay, you've seen me do concentration curls, right? Concentration curl absolutely is going to act as a lot closer to a perfect isolation of the bicep than a standard standing up curl. It's just you are preventing movement of other parts of the arm and therefore relying more entirely on your biceps. So no, isolation exercises aren't bullshit. You're never going to 100% isolate something, but there's a very big difference in how an exercise will feel if you're, say, 30% isolating a muscle versus 90% isolating a muscle, which is absolutely something you can do. So you play around with it. The best part is it gives you muscle confusion. You want to be able to do a variety of exercises in the gym because one, it makes it more fun to go because you can try lots of different things and it doesn't get as stale. And two, all that muscle confusion tends to more successfully make you stronger. Lesbian Hot Sauce, good to see you. Let me give you a shout out in just a second here. I didn't do a set. Come on, for your love by the Yardbirds. So hit a JM here for 12. Also, with JM press, skull crushers, if you're doing less than 6 reps, I think you might be missing the point. Sorry. That's just 105. Yeah, if you're doing JM press with really heavy weight, I mean, I'm impressed, but like, that's not the point. Now, you'll do more isolation stuff on on the concentration curls. Just hit this. Let's go. Four, 5, I'm on. I'm on. Not bad. Let's go 105, 105, 50, 50. We got one more set of jam, one more set of curls. I am. You can give a shout out to Miss Hot Sauce here. A lot of other streamers coming in today. It's pretty great. Y'all go give Lesbian Hot Sauce a follow. She is an English fitness and health streamer. Got a lot of good content. Does other non-streaming stuff, but she's one of, honestly, there's a small handful of women I know, and they're almost all on Twitch as fitness and health streamers, helping dispel the myth that women need to stick to light weights for toning. Now, isolation is not bullshit. Toning is bullshit. At a certain level, if you're doing so many, right? If you're repping bicep curls with 5-pound dumbbells, you know, for sets of 40 or sets of 50, all you're doing is giving yourself tendonitis. Also, Tommy Smothers is the famous Smothers Brothers die. That's a pity. These are almost like you see your abs engaging as well. It makes you feel less insane because my abs kill from a workout from the other day. I never feel my abs in a workout. Part of why I don't, though, is because I engage my abs extremely tight on my heaviest lifts. If you're not engaging your core on a squat set, you're asking your back to get hurt. You need to have a really, really tight core and a really, really strong core to be squatting lots and lots of weight. Same thing with deadlift. You're deadlifting, right? You better believe my core is absolutely rock hard activated when I'm trying to pull 400 plus pounds off the floor. It would be suicidal not to do that. I mean, that's just a really good way to get hurt. So, but yeah, give Miss Hot Sauce there some love. All right, so we've got one more set of jams, one more set of curls to do. This is going well. So this is also Financial Fitness Friday, so we're talking about financial independence, spending, savings, all that jazz. And as the title suggests, for those of you who have only joined recently, it has been a banner year for BullMuscle Incorporated, or for my British audience, BullMuscle PLC. I actually don't know what PLC stands for. I just know that's like the British equivalent to Incorporated. Let's go for, Thrill of It All by Black Sabbath. Yes, please. God, I love Black Sabbath. Public Limited Company. Okay, see, then what's the difference between PLC and LTD? Because LTD stands for limited, right? Interesting. Maybe if it's limited, that means it's not public. That could be it. Here we go. Come on.
Come on, 2 more. Easy. Let's see. I might keep this on, do some close grip. Honestly, this is just not really challenging. Yeah, I think I might do that. Da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Do you think this is shareholders and relationships to stocks and shit? I think that's probably, my guess is limited means it's private. PLC means like anybody can trade stock on it. That would make sense. But yeah, it's been an absolute banner financial year. I calculated my savings rate last night. Charitable contributions are up over 100% relative to last year. They've more than doubled. So that's been really enjoyable, and yet almost all of my expenses have come down. So inflation? What inflation? A winter safe. Thank you very much for the follow. That appears to either be, I can't tell if, that looks like Hanji. It's either Hanji, which is Chinese, or Kanji, which is Japanese. So I can't quite tell, and this is my ignorance as an American, either ni hao or konnichiwa, if you're from here. I can't quite tell. In America, do you get tax reductions if you donate to charity? You can. I deliberately refuse to take any because that's not what charity is about. Google says Chinese, well then in that case, ni hao. Dalty Walty, good to see you. Yeah, you can get reductions if you donate to charity, but that's not why I donate to charity, so I don't take them. It's not enough money for me to want to quibble over. And frankly, if anything, this year I feel a bit undertaxed. I think my taxes are very reasonable here in the United States. I think the trouble is that we spend too much. But last year I think my tax burden was too high. This year, and last year it was very high because of capital gains taxes that I had made, capital gains taxes that I had to pay off of gains I made in 2021. This year, right, 2022 is a pretty rocky year for the stock market, so I was able to take a capital loss deduction, and as such, my income tax rate was lower this year. I'm still, posting a capital loss this year. I was a bit smarter with my taxes, or my capital gains. So I'm gonna be doing a lot more tax loss harvesting, which is a perfectly legal thing to do. It's not a loophole, and you can only do it to a maximum of $3,000. But I'm just not realizing the gains as much is what I'm doing now. The reason, so in 2021, to buy this house, I realized a ton of capital gains to put down the down payment, which is supposedly the financially responsible thing to do. And our government, in its magnificence, decided to be like, oh, that means we're going to tax you out the asshole. You owe us $10,000 more, which is frustrating. Anyway, let's go. Always acquire gains. Capital loss, I'll explain it in a sec. I got to do a set here. Let's go. Caught it on my trouser. That's 9. Come on. 10. 12. Not bad. We'll do concentrations next. Let's try 175 for some close grips. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Thundergun, good to see you. Taxes on UK is well, you get 15,000 tax free. I think in the US it's 11,000, but it's pretty close. Even though I don't pay a huge amount of the rest of my yearly earnings. What do you mean capital loss? Okay, so a capital loss, right? So everybody's pretty familiar with the capital gains tax, right? If you make money in the stock market, you have to report it to the Internal Revenue Service, or your brokerage will do it for you, and you have to pay taxes on those gains because it's treated as income. Now, how it's treated? It's treated as income if it's short term. There's a different set of brackets if it's long term capital gains. But capital losses is, well, it seems only fair that if the government is going to tax you on the years you make money in the stock market, the government should not tax you on when you lose in the stock market. That seems pretty reasonable, right? So, but only up to a point. The way it works is if you lose money in the stock market, you can count it against your income. Now, you can only count 3,000 per year, but it does roll over. So let's say you have a really bad year and you lose $30,000 in the stock market. That means you can claim $3,000 against your capital gains for the next 10 years if you wanted to. Now, of course, this is assuming that you don't realize any capital gains to go against that. You know, if you do, obviously that's going to bring the, that's going to eat into that capital loss previously. But it's a nice way, basically what it is if you sell off a bunch of losers at the end of the year that you don't really want to hold on to anyway, you can get a nice little tax cut, and that's generally what I do. It's the same thing with charity too. And frankly, in the United States, for the vast majority of people, you're going to be better off taking the standard deduction anyhow, but still. Let me do the old ethical stock shit. I don't think there's something, yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing unethical about doing that, right? It is in everyone's interest, the entire society's interest, for people to invest their money, because stock market often builds off of confidence, right? That's what the bull and the bear spirits are. I know that sounds a little bit woo, but it actually really, it is a factor. Consumer confidence, especially in a consumer-driven economy like the United States, the United Kingdom, most of the developed world is at this point, that consumer confidence is going to help drive business confidence. When it drives business confidence, businesses make more investments. When businesses make more investments, they hire more people. When they hire more people, unemployment rate comes down. When unemployment rate comes down, consumer confidence is boosted. It's a cycle. Obviously, it can get out of hand, and that's when you get inflation. But the point remains is the government would prefer a positive attitude towards investing. And so they try to structure taxes to not penalize investing too much. You invest only in ESG stocks. I want to say invest in, say, arms manufacturers. We differ there. Oil and gas is the way of the present, and it pays quite a fat dividend. Now, I'm a huge fan of investing in stocks you believe in, but they have to provide a decent ROI. I'm not going to invest in a loser. I've already done that. I made that mistake. Bought into a lot of the ESG sort of greener stocks in 2021 and 2022, and I absolutely got shellacked on them. So I prefer a more conservative approach at the moment. Now, a lot of them have turned out for the better, and there are still some green stocks I participate in that I actually still believe in, but in general, I'm interested in what is sound business practices, what makes money. And it doesn't have to make the most money, but it has to make reliable money. And if your industry is only existing because the government is subsidizing it to an obscene degree, that raises some questions. ESGs, though. Okay, so here's the other thing about ESG. ESG, I'm not against ESG, but ESG has some fundamental flaws in it. For instance, a lot of ESGs that are focused on carbon emissions exclude nuclear energy. And obviously that's a big pet peeve for me, because the fastest way to replace, there you go, corn. Well, you get the point. where I'm going with this is very simple, right? If you're looking to replace mass-fired coal power plants or mass-fired gas power plants that are on 100% of the time for baseload electricity, you're going to want nuclear. And a lot of ESGs exclude nuclear. Another one is ESGs exclude GMO foods. Now, genetically modified foods may not be the ideal situation, but we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a world with 8 billion people, and if it weren't for GMOs, we'd have suffered several famines since the 60s alone. The Green Revolution, for instance, under the guise of A&M professor, I might add, Norman Borlaug, saved more lives than any other event on Earth. Norman Borlaug perhaps has saved more lives than any human being to ever exist. Seriously, the amount of lives saved and the amount of starvation ended by the Green Revolution cannot be understated. We've been GMOing for, yes, pretty much. Yeah, at this point, unless you go to the backwoodziest of backwoods areas in remote jungles in places like South America, perhaps the Appalachians, or rural Canada, you're not going to find non-GMO stuff. It's a bit like the natural foods movement. It's a bit of a scam. Now, I'm all for limiting pesticides and microplastics use, but there's a big difference between that and declaring all GMOs to be bad. Frankly, the non-GMO movement is a way to scam gullible Californians out of their money. that's my answer. Now, GMOs, again, there's obviously you don't want to be chemically modifying foods too much. You can end up trying to play God, and that's not good either. But we live in a world with 8 billion people that all, frankly, food is, to me, a human right. You can't establish life, liberty, and property without making sure people are fucking fed. We are beyond the era, or at least we damn well should be beyond the era of Victorian era capitalism, that existed in the 1840s. We should not have to worry about people going hungry anymore. There is enough food to go around, and I am of the belief that people, when they're at least fed, often tend to make better decisions and often tend to resort to better decisions for society, as in, not stealing just to feed themselves, for instance, not committing crime just to feed themselves, which is something that occasionally still happens and in an ideal world would get ended pretty quickly. Anyway, I agree. Well, so that's the thing. I think people get confused as to what GMOs are, and they don't compare it to, really, if we're going to talk about GMOs, let's address the elephant in the room with ultra-processed foods first, right? Instead of bitching and moaning about a GMO apple or a GMO banana, let's just be thankful people are eating apples and bananas in the first place instead of turning to what they do around here, which is fucking fried pies and Little Debbie's. All right, let's hit another set. All right, we'll do some concentration curls. What's really funny to me is I've seen people complain about GMOs when they smoke cigarettes. That one shocks me. I've seen cigarette smokers complain about GMOs, and that's one where I just kind of sit there and stare. I'm like, you're not that stupid, are you? You're willfully inhaling carcinogens by burning tobacco and God knows what other chemicals they put in modern day cigarettes. and you're caring about what you're eating, it's very likely one day we'll lose bananas. I don't think that's true. Because we've got plantains, we've got, you know, all sorts of stuff. Well, I mean, Diet Coke is bad for you, but it's, any soda is bad for you. It's especially bad for your teeth. But if you're smoking cigarettes and you're lecturing other people about what drugs they're choosing to use, fuck off. No. Hey, later bowl of grind continues. Take it easy, Big Red. How you doing, criminal? I've had Diet Coke since September. Good for you. You know, I know these last few months have been tough for you, Big Game Mikey, but it sounds to me like you're making a lot of really good personal choices, and I really do believe something's good coming down the pipeline for you. It's hard to listen to him when he smokes. Now, the advice may be true, but yeah, if you're smoking and giving me health advice, I'm going to tell you you're a fucking clown. All right. Oh, I can feel the burn on that. Ah. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1. Oh, biceps are shredded now. That's what I'm talking about. So you see, this is an isolation, right? Only thing that's really moving is my elbow. Honestly, that was pretty easy. I'm gonna probably go off one. Go 35s. Ooh. There we go. Nice. Speaking of easy, let's set this off all pretty easy on a close grip. I really want to hit my triceps a little harder because they're the weak point of my bench game right now. My chest is way stronger than my triceps. Like, I think the last time I did was, you know, maybe, when I maxed last, it was 335. But I can get fucking probably 370, 375 to about here. The trouble is my triceps do not have enough to lock out. Which tells me it's a tricep issue. Those pump pose and photos. I'm not looking my best right now. I'm in a bulk. I'm trusting the bulk. But I know immediately that I don't look as good as I should. Let's go with there we go. We'll go all scorpions here. Another streamer's emoji that looks way more like you. God damn it. Smart ass. Now we'll get that bicep pump. I'm gonna do a set of single dumbbell curls because I fucking like them. I have no other reason to do that. I just like them. You're a hench. That's British for strong. You never know. No, I'd rather be my own harshest critic. 185. Easy. Lightweight. Yeah, I should roll over and smoke a cigarette. That felt so good. Let's stick with that. Yeah, 3. All right. Next step. Let's go. Hey, good to see you, Talio. 2, 3, 4. We'll do another set of those. I might do some incline curls too. I love those. Just tack on the volume. It's too fucking easy otherwise. Gaddy, I am bulking right now. I'm bulking, weight about 205 at the beginning of the bulk, just a tick over 220 right now. Goal is to get to 235, 240 by the end of February. Early March. Baklava, good to see you. It's driving me out of my mind. You drive me out of my mind. Let's go. Strong light bull, baby. Last set on close grip. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. What's it look like? What's it look like? Banner year, baby. I'm feeling like doing something fun here. Never waste a minute of time, never miss a beat. We're gonna go down to 125. And after a few more bicep sets, I'm gonna see just how many times I can fucking rep this. Just for poops and giggles. No other reason. How about can we dice up our triceps, huh? Let's find out. Oh, dude, I love bulking. 70 pounds down, 60 to go. Good God. That's impressive, man. That's a long cut. That first cut's the hardest. You know, if you're starting out really overweight, it's a bitch. I hate cutting in December because it's Christmas time and I like cookies. Everybody likes cookies. So I make that my bulk time gives me a lot more freedom, a lot more leeway to not be a Grinch and just enjoy the holidays. Gaddy is better. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. If he's cut 70 pounds, I can tell you how he did it. He ran a caloric deficit. State cookies can't wait to get home to no temptations. Unfortunately, the temptations got brought home to me here, so it's a little bit more difficult, but it was worth it. It's been good though. Hell, so life is short sometimes. Like, hell, for my roommate's Christmas present, I took her out to a really nice chop house in Columbia, like downtown, right next to the state capitol. And you know, it was all on me. She got herself a real nice Wagyu ribeye, got myself a New York strip, you know. And yeah, I had myself a nice little scotch with it. You know, nothing crazy, just a dram of Del Winnie, nothing insane. But you know, you have that, you have the bread pudding afterwards. No, it's not going to be a good day for your macros, but it comes but once a year. So enjoy the merry festivities. Chicken breast and veggies every day, and gym other day with the trainer. Baklava, I have so much fucking respect for someone like that. It's hard if you've put yourself into a hole to dig out of it. And it sounds like digging out of it is exactly what you're doing. So mad respect, bro. You're climbing your way up, and you're gonna be very happy with the results. Keep killing it. Let's go. Last set of concentrations. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nice. All right. Move on to back flies, bent over. We do back flies, bent over for 3 sets of 12. I'll do a single dumbbell curl, really show off that pump. Some incline curls, and then we'll kill it with a burnout on close grip for funsies. It's tough on a person need to hold me accountable. Suicide runs and burpees so I couldn't anymore. Baklava, if you had 100 plus pounds to lose, what that means is you took too many easy Christmases in the past, and now you gotta make up for lost time. I promise you it'll get better. If you stick to it, next year, you should probably be able to take it a little bit easier on Christmas. But yeah, sometimes people need tough love. Love Will says, talk so well about living frugally, but I don't think I can do it. Only recently I crave stuff, and by most standards I have all cash in the world, but yet my fantasies are still fucked. I can help you with that. A very easy way to think about it is, look at all the possessions you already have, and look at the amount of money you've spent on them. Look at the amount of money you currently have compared to the amount of money you've made entirely in your life, and ask yourself, was this a good deal? And that'll help inculcate you against reckless spending in the future. The truth is, almost every item you crave that you want, you don't really need. The ones you do need, you can probably find cheaper used. Now, it's good though. The fact that you're admitting you have a spending problem is the first step to fucking fixing your spending problem. I'm a very big fan of personal austerity. Spartan lifestyle in the 21st century is still an extremely easy thing. It's still a life of ease compared to, I mean, hell, 30 years ago, it's still a life of ease. All right. Nice. 643,000. Dude, if your base salary is $643,000 and you've had it for more than 3 years and you're not a millionaire, you have only yourself to blame. I'd be very curious to see if my net worth was higher than yours. I've never made more than $100,000 at my day job ever. Now, make very good money, and my real life hack here is where I live. Because I live in the rural deep south, my costs of living are extremely low. Just made partner? Good for you. Okay, well, congratulations. But yeah, if you're just making partner, I assume that means at a law firm. First off, you and I are natural enemies because I'm an engineer, but all joking aside, it's good to see you, FM. Enjoy the lurk. Thanks for popping by, Big Game Mikey. Oh, an ad firm. Oh, God. You really are evil. I kid. Look, there's a reason advertising is a billion-dollar industry. It works. That's why I run the minimum amount that I can on this stream. Because I ain't in it for the money. I don't need the money. I laugh at this, man. Inflation? What inflation? My spending went down 15% this year, even though my charitable contributions doubled. But perhaps you need to think about it a bit differently than Love Will in a position like yours. You're someone who's very upwardly mobile. You sound like the type that is very interested in having power and having destiny, having control over your own freedom. You probably have to deal with asshole coworkers and at least until recently, probably asshole bosses who worked you 70 or 80 hours a week. Wouldn't it be nice to have the freedom to tell them, fuck you? Yeah, I bet it would be. Wouldn't it be nice to know exactly what you had to do to get that freedom? Bet you could. Bet I could tell you. I bet I could do the math right now on this here whiteboard. I could lay it all out for you, nice and easy. Next layer of heck being a partner at a car dealership. That's pretty funny. Right, what I'm saying here is just, for you, to be honest, from a societal and environmental perspective too, controlling your spending, if you are in the top 1% of earners, which you very much are at that salary, which congratulations, you worked hard for it, is extremely critical. Oh God, Super Bowl shit, bless your heart, that sounds terrible. Then again, I don't even think you could advertise. It'd be hard to put a positive marketing spin on what I do for a living, so I can't judge that much. Ugh. All right, so next up we got incline curls. So we've already done concentric. No, we were gonna do single dumbbell curls. Actually, before I do this set, Lesbian hot sauce, you still in here? Because I know you had been mentioning these, and tell you what, I'm drinking too much water, talking too much. Just give me one more moment. My apologies, y'all. Oh God. So my first question to you, I would say that I love Will. If you're making that kind of bank is, do you have a budget? Where is your money going? Okay, cool. I was about to do those single dumbbell curls. I figured you might want to watch that because that might be helpful to you. Let's go. All right, let's take it on the back end here. Come in real close. Start right about inch or so, a couple inches out in front. Keep the elbows in front of your belly. Keep them close in. Feel that pump. So you do this. Oh, that's better. There we go. It's hard to do with the power blocks, I'll admit. The idea is you want to get underneath it, really build up that pump. Let's go. Figure that might be helpful. Yeah, you want to hold it like this if you can. The trouble is with the power blocks, it's hard to... Wait, no, I'm stupid. No wonder I was doing that wrong. I forgot with the power blocks, you just got to do it without the handle. I'll just do a second set of those. Here. This would be more useful. Yeah, Love Will, if you want to talk a little bit more about budgeting, very happy to help. Here we go. You see that pump? Oh yeah, let's go. Look at that pump. Starting to see that vein popping. It's harder to get it nowadays because the bulk's too much fat. And they worked it out and was like, yeah, right? The 8-hour weeks were over at the top of the mountain last night. Love Will, do you want to fix that for 2024?
please, I'm begging you, join the Discord. I want to help. I want to help. I'll talk about it now because it's Financial Fitness Friday, so we can talk about it here. But I want to write it all out for you so you have it available to you in a compact, easy to read form. So it tells me though, obviously, you're doing quite well for yourself. I'm sure you have a great dating scene. And I'm guessing you live in New York, would be my guess. If you're making that kind of money and you're in advertising, you're probably somewhere on Fifth Avenue. Hey, Alonso and K1 was taken. Thank you very much. You're on the Discord. Awesome. Well, if you want me to write it all out for you, so that way you can reference it, ask me all this again after the stream, and I'll happily do that. In the meantime, I'll absolutely write it out for you by hand as well to provide an example. All right. Yeah, fuck it. We're just gonna do another of these right now. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, God. Oh, I feel that in my biceps. God, that's such a good feeling. The lighting's just crap. Can't seem to get that pump today. Honestly, it's just better with a single handle dumbbell. Chicago, okay. Well, dude, you're making $650K, as near as makes no difference, in fucking Chicago, and you can't sock away money? Chicago's not even expensive to live in. Hey, you need to learn how to reduce your spending. I got a buddy who lives on the south side. I'll teach you how to live poor real quick. He lives down near Pullman. Yeah, that part of Chicago. Got to imagine you haven't been there in quite some time. So you lose your grip and the weight hits the camera. Nah, lemon and hands, baby. I can hold on. So you don't live in Chicago. You live where all the preppy Northwestern grads are. There ain't nothing wrong with Evanston. It's a nice town. Raised at Evanston. Did you go to Northwestern? I bet you went to Northwestern. Are you a Northwestern grad? You're almost stereotyping yourself here. It's totally cool. I actually have, one of my exes went to U Chicago for economics, so I understand how great the education can be in the just Chicagoland area. Some damn good schools there. I'm a bit more blue collar than that. No, I'm not working class by any means. I'm upper middle class. I'm a nuclear engineer, but still, never quite living in a place like that. I like to take the piss. Plus, you're a Yankee, so easy enough to do so anyway. All right. Let's go. That'll work. Working my PhD at Northwestern now. I went to Evanston High School. Mom went to Evanston High School. This is my home. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And look, anybody who wants to shit on Chicago, man, it's a great city. Look, all I have to do is just insert John Hughes' movie here to prove that Chicago is a great place. Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off shows just how great the city can be. Yes, I get that movie was released over 30 years ago, but it's still excellent. And all the great things about Chicago are still there. So, all right. Good old targeted advertising. I need medicine on how to. I'm freaking getting advertised for diabetes medication on my little radio here, and like, Really? Come on, my diet hasn't been that poor. Damn. I've lived all over the place. I don't really have a place I could call home. College Station's the closest I could call, and I only lived there for 4 years. I'm 28. I've never lived anywhere for more than 4 years of my life. Really, I should say 3.5 years, because, you know, summers, and I got there August of 17, left, or sorry, I got there August of 13, left May of 20, or sorry, May of 17, excuse me. You can feel that in my delts. All right, let's see here. We got, how many sets we got left? We got 5 sets left. Let's see here, 3, 7, 10, 16, 19, 22, 25, 28, yeah, cool. 32. Just throwing extra volume on the bodybuilding stuff is easy. College Station is A&M. I highly recommend learning to get it right, because calling an Aggie a Texas grad is not a good idea. we don't fuck with that orange school. Yeah, no, I don't think people quite. So when it comes to A&M, people who have met A&M a little bit understand how much sway it actually has. People don't understand just how massive a school Texas A&M is. Texas A&M is a school actually slightly bigger than Ohio State, which is a notably massive school. It's just, people think, College Station, Texas, it's out in the middle of nowhere. Well, it can't be that big, it can't be that influential. Look, there's a reason the only president to have ever run the CIA, who never actually went to A&M, decided to place both his library and get buried in College Station. That's the elder Bush, the better one. Bush 41's library and graveyard, his mortal remains are buried in College Station, Texas. As is his wife's, as is one of his children. Some crazy things to think about there. So, we've got incline curls. No, we got one more set of delts. Yeah, Texas University, which is what we call them, because we refuse to call them. We think it's presumptuous for the school that was the third oldest public school in Texas to call themselves the University of Texas, as if they are the only one. Yeah, not only was Texas A&M older, but Prairie View A&M, a historically black college, was also older. Both were founded in 1876, and Texas was only founded in 1883. Yes, we care about that. Yes, it's silly. No, we will not be convinced of anything else. But that orange school in Austin, well, I actually do respect it as a pretty damn good academic institution. Austin has turned into a cut-rate Los Angeles, and it's not a good place to live anymore. It's a dump. I mean, the construction is hideous. Traffic is worse in Austin than potentially even LA at this point. I-35 is a mess. There are homeless people everywhere. Drug usage is off the charts. Crime rates are going up. Housing prices have become extremely unaffordable. And all the positives to Los Angeles, the beautiful weather, the beautiful beaches, the beautiful women, none of them exist in Austin.
Austin, you have a little bit too many. Well, it's still Texas, so the obesity rate is a lot higher, and you have a few too many. I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this in a mean way, but like people who dye their hair teal and pink and hate anyone who looks like me. Presumptively straight white guys, even though I'm not. I still get that every time I go, into Austin. So I have no, and of course, because I'm an Aggie, of course, that just amplifies it because it's a bit of a political divide. A&M is one of the few, I would say, Republican or conservative-leaning public universities these days. Very few public universities tend to be even centrist anymore, let alone slightly right-leaning, and A&M tends to be one of the few that is. And it makes sense because what are the major employers that tap A&M? Oil and gas, nuclear, agribusiness, engineering, veterinary science, and the military. Oh, and the three-letter agencies, because duh. Again, there's a reason the only president, as I said, who ran the CIA put his library at A&M. Mavericks, good to see you. Oh, what class? 17 here. I don't have my ring on because I'm lifting, but good to see you. Welcome on in. Gig 'em. Ooh, that feels good. All right, now you got incline curls, and we're gonna burn out on close grip press just for fun, really. Then we'll talk finances, and that'll probably be it for the workout. All right, we're gonna hit incline curls. These are really good because it naturally extends the path of motion. You can also cant your elbows out and do them like this, and it feels really good to me. I'm progressive. I don't think we hate straight white guys, do we? Some do. Now, I also will admit I probably have a bias here. Living where I do, I live in a small town in South Carolina with 0 grocery stores, 8 churches, and dozens of Confederate flags. So the only time I see progressives around here are often the loudest voices on the internet. And I feel like those probably don't represent the cause so well. Thankfully, I have some more progressive-minded people in my Discord server and on my channel that balance out my perceptions. 2011 produced 20 season for the football team this year. Hopefully, new coach re-energizes the program. Yeah, I would agree with that, to put it mildly. At this point, I'm getting pretty fed up with A&M football. For me to continue caring, I gotta get something. Look, fan loyalty is a two-way street, and we've put up with a lot of bullshit over the years. We've got to get something. No program. We have the resources and the talent of Ohio State, and we're stuck going 7-6. That's unacceptable. Unfortunately, and to be honest, I don't really give a damn about the culture wars. I have you ask me about LGBT rights or abortion, it's just not that high priority for me. I care a lot more about the economy because that affects 100% of us, or at least 99% of us, whereas cultural issues only affect fractions of the population. I know a lot of people, now that probably comes from a place of privilege, right? People assume I'm straight until otherwise told. And especially around here, frankly, in a Bible Belt area of the country, I'd prefer it stayed that way because I just don't want the hassle of explaining it. Seems aren't too far off. The losses were all close aside from Miami. Need a quarterback to stay healthy. That's on Steve Adazio. And the hire of Steve Adazio and retaining him after a horrendous 2022 is on Jimbo Fisher. That is why Jimbo Fisher failed. Jimbo Fisher made bad hires. DJ Durkin and Steve Adazio were inexplicably bad hires. I've never seen an offensive line regress as badly as ours has from 2020 to 2023. I mean, I truly believe Steve Adazio broke Bryce Foster. Foster was slated to be a first-round draft pick a few years ago, and now he's terrible. To be fair, y'all have nothing to complain about. DePaul undergrad and our basketball team is bullshit right now. They're calling us for money right now. Oof. Yeah. I do think economics is the most important thing as well. And I agree. I think all too often, and even from people who have different economic views from me, the cultural wars are very often a distraction that big companies put out to prevent the left from making a better economic argument. Because there are times where things like I know a lot of people just assume I'm a nasty, dirty capitalist pig and all that, but I actually am semi-pro union. The unions can go too far, but sometimes that's how it goes. All right, let's go. Let's get another baklava. Making an omelet this morning. Love me an omelet. We agree. UK's governments try to waste their time on liberal identity politics. Well, the government does it too. The government only does what the people want it to do most of the time. Look, if you don't like your representatives, vote out your representatives. All right, let's do another set. There we go. Oh, that's heavy. That's good. Eight. Nine. 10. 12. Nice. Might have to cut an ad. Yeah. Look. Ultimately, politics affects my job very little because neither administration, Democratic nor Republican, really wants to fuck with the guys who know how to build the nukes. Probably not a good idea. The thing is, Miss Hot Sauce, is that our friend Love Will may be making great bank, but it sounds like he's got a bit of a spending problem, and hopefully we can help him fix that. I would love nothing more than to help someone become freer, because what that means is you can actually live according to your ethics as well. Your boss wants you to do something that you just don't agree with as a good move for the company, and you're of financial security, you can tell him to go pound sand. If you spend almost everything you earn and you have to, maintain a high maintenance lifestyle, you can't do that. All right, we are down to 30s for the next set because I'm gonna camp my elbows outward and this just absolutely shreds it. Although I may be moving next year, by the way. Oh. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Well, of Hermes, that is my problem. What is Hermes? Moving where? Okay, so I've talked about this a little bit. The United States Navy is interested in my services as a civilian nuclear engineer. Right now, the two potential locations are Bremerton, Washington, and Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. I don't know what Hermes is. If that's slang for cocaine, no comment. Coke always seemed like more of a New York drug. I made a commitment to myself as a middle-class white kid working humanitarian, and I feel so awful about the world a lot of the time, and I'm so lucky to earn a salary doing so. And I respect that a lot. No, we shouldn't fuck around with the nuke engineers who pay you more. No, I'm paid perfectly fine. I'm doing just happy here. I make good money. If you guys are curious, I'm open with what I make, what I save. that kind of, if I want you guys to talk about these things, I can't sit here and be private with what I make and what I spend. Halford, good to see you. Hermes is a brand? A brand of what? You gotta remember, okay, y'all. Okay, this is where I live. I don't have a grocery store in my town, but I do have a moonshine plug in my town. I need to probably define what rural America looks like a little bit better for some of you. I actually make my own homemade wine, so to speak. The Hermes is French pronunciation. What do you think? I'm going to be able to speak French properly? A lot of y'all probably think I have a really Southern American accent that I can't even speak American properly well. And I know what I'm doing here. That might be bait for a certain Brit in chat. Do I work from home? Not. Okay, so my work site begrudgingly offers us 1 day a week to work from home, and they fucking hate it, but they recognize that if they didn't, turnover would get so bad they couldn't continue to operate. So 1 day a week. Does moonshine taste good? Never had any? It can be. It can taste very good. I've had a banana pudding moonshine before that'll knock your socks off. Good. I've had good watermelon shine before. Even had a good peach and apple are the most common around here, because you can mask that with cinnamon and whatnot. But really depends on how you make it, what you're doing with it. It's going to be fucking harsh because it's not aged. You know, it's 50, 55, 60, 65 percentage alcohol, but it's pretty good stuff. Get the real moonshine. Okay, if your moonshine has a barcode on it, it's not real moonshine. Don't ever think Old Smoky is real moonshine. That's just whiskey that hasn't been aged. If you're paying taxes on it, it's not moonshine. I'll put it that way. All right. Last set of curls. Yo, Nightmare Thief, good to see you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, now, in every small town like this, there's a place to get hooch. Now, I make my own wine. What I wanted to do last year was get my my plug to take the must from my Scuppernong wine, turn it into brandy, but he fucked off to Florida before I could do that. There's a license from the ATF. It's not real. Bingo. All right, last set. Last set of biceps anyway. Yeah, no, I've had good moonshine before. I'm talking shine that'll, I'll put it this way, it was shine I didn't believe was 75% alcohol until he lit it on fire. Moonshine beer, it's always fun trying out his new flavors. That's awesome. He's got a pot still. That's some good shit right there. Others? Yeah, okay. So to explain what my town is like, I'm gonna have to draw a parallel from 2 old TV shows. What you gotta do is combine Mayberry, North Carolina from the Andy Griffith Show, and then combine Hazard County, Georgia from the Dukes of Hazzard, and you have my town. Oh, God, that's sore. Come on. There's a lot of benefits to living in rural America, though, I'll tell you what. Not too far from me is a little bird preservation site where I can actually see a bald eagle's nest. God bless America, right? You see differently is what I heard before I drank in Tennessee. Yup. Do people die in the United States from homemade moonshines? Well, thankfully, the Roosevelt administration passed the most important law in the United States for probably, oh, God knows how many decades, the 21st Amendment, which repealed the 18th Amendment and legalized alcohol. Do people die in the U.S. from homemade shines? Ever since Prohibition ended, the number's very small, but yes, lead burns red and makes you dead. So if you see a moonshine and it's burning red, don't drink it. And if you get moonshine that you can't light on fire, it's not really very good moonshine. It's been diluted. I suppose I suppose I've kind of given away here that I'm a southerner. Here's my ultra. My chest gets bigger when I get a pump and it sucks, man. Well, welcome. Thanks for the first time chat. Love the country. I need to get further away from suburbia. I love my house too much right now. Ugh, I'd rather live in the big city than live in suburbia. I don't like the suburbs. It's the worst of both worlds. Guess where Prohibition started? Ohio. That's where Wayne Wheeler came from. Prohibition is never going to take root in the South. You got to remember, the South is where moonshine started. Specifically Appalachia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, that panhandle of Virginia. Nope. Wayne Wheeler. It started in states like Ohio. It started, believe it or not, in parts of the Midwest. Kansas and Ohio are the two states. Or did it really start in Evanston? That's really ironic about that is, of course, the biggest criminal organization that got founded and got its start really kind of leapt into the big leagues during Prohibition was, of course, Al Capone's outfit, which is in Chicago. Not to mention, hey, speaking of great places in the South where you get really good moonshine through the entirety of the Prohibition and where even presidents would go and mingle with guys, you could get Calvin Coolidge, Babe Ruth, and Al Capone in the same spot would be Hot Springs, Arkansas in the 1920s. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that'd be it, but if you ever go to the bathhouses on Bathhouse Row there in Hot Springs, it's some pretty cool history. If you're into the Prohibition era, check that out. Reminds me of when my Irish granddad brewed me potato vodka for my 18th birthday. Me and my friends almost went blind. Sounds about right. That's unfathomably based right there, sir. Or madam, excuse me. Let's see here. Good to see you, Nightmare Thief. I don't know if I had said that already. Yeah, but I don't know. So, Love Will, if you're still in chat, what is Hermes? Because y'all was saying that. I don't know what Hermes is. All right, but for funsies here, we're gonna do one last set and we're gonna talk about finances and stocks. And maybe we'll help Love Will with spending a bit. By the way, we can talk about investing too, because I got a few stocks I'm really bullish on for 2024. I mentioned them earlier, but might be worth for some of you who want to maybe swing for the fences. I got an idea. The clothing brand will also do just upscale accessories and houseware. Well, I know what Hermes, the Greek god, is, but I didn't realize it was a clothing brand. I haven't bought a new pair of clothes. Hell, I can't even tell you when. Most of my clothes I either get as gifts, like, you know, from friends and family at Christmas time, t-shirts, shorts, socks, stuff like that. Or I'll get, frankly, sometimes I'll go to the thrift shop and get stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with finding a good shirt from Salvation Army or Goodwill. Hell, you can find decent suits there for peanuts. Now, obviously, if you're working at a place like a really highfalutin advertising firm, they might be able to pick out that you bought your suit used off a rack, but frankly, even then, you only need one really decent tailored suit. That's a couple $100. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a wardrobe that's ridiculous. Brand of Birkin bag is about $12,000. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Okay, Love Will. We gotta have a conversation about this, and I'm gonna do this after. I'm gonna give you guys the number. I'm gonna write it on my board. What do you think? A nice suit is not a good investment. A good investment requires that you could sell it more for later. You sell it later for more, rather. A nice suit is not a good investment. It's an expense. I hate it when people say that. There are expenses and there are investments. An investment is something you intend to get money back on. An expense is something you don't. Now, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and rep out, just for poops and giggles here, we're gonna do this on close grip, really just shred the shit out of my triceps. You know what? I'm actually gonna. I'll just throw 135 on there, so that way it's officially like plates. And then this will be our last set. So what I'm gonna do is ask you guys right now. I want all of you, Twitch, start putting in guesses in the chat for how much did I spend this year? What was my net spending for 2023? Put your guesses in now. There we go. I'm gonna write it on the board and we're gonna see who gets closest. Now, if you know, don't participate in this, but I wanna see where you guys go with this. Strong like bull, let's go. Come on! Why wait? That's 35, I'll take that. Not bad, not bad. Good to see an ortrate. That was 35 for reps. I do have a mortgage. My yearly salary is $97,500. I don't make six figs. This is my net spending this year. All right? I'm gonna write it on this. We're gonna see who gets the closest. I'm rounding up to the nearest 1,000, by the way. All right, get a drum. If y'all can get a drum emoji in chat. This marker's garbage. Sorry, y'all. Net spending for 2023, what do y'all think it is? I'll take one more leak while I'm over here. Oh, yeah. God bless the piss jug. Here we go. All right. Y'all ready? What are we including? You mean everything from mortgage? Yep, mortgage, groceries, electricity. What do I do for work? I'm a nuclear engineer. Yeah, so this is everything. Automobile, gasoline, or petrol if you don't live in the United States, electricity, mortgage, charity, vacations, gym stuff, protein, everything. Now ready? Okay, we got 68K, we got 30K. Interesting job. Oh, I can explain a whole lot more about that. Any other guesses? Total net spending for the year 2023. I want y'all to take some guesses. We got 68K, we got 30K. Any other guesses? Love Will. Actually, I want to hear. Love Will, I want to see what your guess is in particular. You're bringing in the big bucks. I want to see what do you think I spend in a year? Night Owl Paul, 18K. Do we got any others? 20, 60. All right. What do you drive? Drive a 2017 Chevrolet Volt. Here we go. The answer is, drum roll, less than 15K, Mikhail Shez. Night Owl Paul is correct. I spent just a bit under, it's about $17,500 this year. So, as near as it makes no difference, because I may throw a little bit more to charity, but 18 grand. There you go. This is why my savings rate is extremely high. Yep. I spend $18,000 a year. And I live like this. Rest in savings and stocks, effectively. You got to remember, a good chunk of this mortgage, because it's a 15-year loan at 2.375%, a good chunk of it's equity, and that does count as savings. It's just in a liquid form of savings. Did you have the lap dances? Smart ass. I don't do lap dances. But there you go. So, question is, right, that's a damn good mortgage rate. How the fuck did you get that? Good question. So, I bought this house in September of 2021 before rates went up. I knew the free money period was not going to last. I knew interest rates had to climb at some point because our reckless spending over the COVID pandemic was going to cause inflation. Anyone with a brain could have told you that. Several people with brains did. I called that just as well, so I bought a mortgage at that point. Now, why I was able to get it at 2.375% is because I sprung for a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. I bought a house I could afford, and I put a full 20% down payment on it. So that's why my mortgage is so low. My mortgage is well under $1,000 a month, even though it's a 15-year loan, and I have two roommates who pay a large chunk of that for me. So yeah, 2.375% for not that much in the term of principal. So basically, it's been eating my mortgage away ever since I got it. Which is fantastic. But Mikhail, thanks for the first time chat. Welcome on in. So the question is, okay, how in the fuck am I doing this? That's a good question. So first part of it is location, 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 okay? You can live a very, very good life in parts of rural America if you're willing to live there. And you can do it for far less money than if you live in a big city. Maybe you should bite the bullet and get a roommate. So the question is, can you afford to not have one? Housing is scarce right now because of a combination of factors, including poor zoning policy and natural population growth. Housing prices will continue to go up. But what's funny is, when you look at a graph of housing prices per square foot, it's actually not that big an increase. The biggest part of why housing prices are so much more expensive now than they were in 1970 is because we have demanded bigger homes. The average size, the size of the average American house in 2023 is almost double what it was in the 50s and 60s. This house was built in 1956. It's just a little bit over 1,000 square foot in terms of size, so it's around 100 square meters for those of you who do things in metric. And I have 2 roommates. It is not a large property, but this is seen as a very small home here in the United States today, where the average is more than 2,000 square feet in most states. You're fucking with my narrative? No, the simple answer is this is why you guys are wondering, how the fuck is this dude saving 82% of his income? Here you go. And okay, now people are going to wonder, wait, if you make 97.5 and you're spending 18, how are you getting a savings rate of 82%? Don't forget 401k contributions. The company has a match. And then I do things after tax because I can't control how much I get taxed. At least not yet. I don't make enough to, pay a lawyer off and have that make sense, so I'm not going to bother. Natural population growth puts on his mad scientist goggles and returns to the cloning lab. Well, the truth is we actually have below replacement fertility rates in this country. The difference is we have immigration make up the difference, which I'm a huge fan of. Immigration is a good thing. The United States has been, is, and always will be a country of immigrants. And the only time we should reject immigrants to this country is when they don't believe in basic American principles like life, liberty, and property. If you don't believe in the basic constitutional system and a capitalist United States, go to a different country that has different values. I can afford it, but it's tight. I also just finished my medical coding cert, hoping to find a better job soon. Well, good for you, man. Good for you. So we can break this down a little bit. So my mortgage payments are more or less covered by my roommates who pay me rent, and they get cheaper rent than anywhere else they can find around here. My electricity costs, well, because I have 2 roommates, it's split in 3. And my electric costs are probably a little bit higher than average because I drive a plug-in hybrid car, a Chevy Volt, as does my roommate. But even so, we've managed to find some ways to cut down on electric bills. One of the biggest ones is that in the winter, we've compromised on what we think is a reasonable temperature to keep the inside of the house at. I've made sure the house is fairly well insulated. We keep it at 64, that's, I believe, I want to say 18 Celsius in the winter, and it's perfectly fine. Now, if I had my way, I'd keep it at 55, which is like 12 Celsius in the winter, and be very, very happy. But my roommate is a little bit more sane than I am, or perhaps, if I had, in my opinion, a bit more soft than I am. Granted, having all this muscle means I'm basically a giant walking furnace, so I very seldom get too cold. Likewise, in the summertime, I live in South Carolina. Guess what? It gets hot here. And keeping your thermostat at 70 or 72 in the summertime means you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars in electric costs, and you're also going to fry the shit out of your air compressor a lot sooner because you're putting it through a lot more work. So instead, we keep it at 76 in the house. When I'm alone, if my roommate's gone, I'll let it get up to about 80, 81, 82. That's 76 is, I believe, just a tick under 25 C. 82 is closer to 27 C. When it's 95 outside or hotter, 82 sounds pretty good and feels pretty nice. And there's this wonderful invention called a box fan. And as it turns out, a box fan is very good at keeping you cooler than you think the temperature is. Still air is much warmer than moving air. There's a couple examples, but good for you, Baklava, on that certification. So those are some of your biggest examples. Other ones, right? If you have incandescent lights in your house in 2023, what the fuck are you doing? Get LEDs. Look, you might think the lighting's slightly better, but unless you're someone with the wealth of Donald Trump, who has famously talked about how he prefers incandescent lights for their lighting, or you live in a cold, perpetually cold year, a cold place year-round where the excess electricity from the incandescent light comes as heat and therefore reduces your heating bills, there's no reason for you to have incandescent lights in 2023. LEDs do the job for a fraction of the cost and are far more efficient. There's a very, very easy solution. Other ones, find what in your house is using the most power. It may be somewhat surprising. There are things called vampire losses. If you've got video game consoles plugged in. Those will eat up a few dollars worth of electricity every month. That may not seem like a lot at first, but when it adds up, all of a sudden it's $100 a year. Factor that in for 5, 6, 7 devices of that type. You're talking $500, $600, $700 a year. Do I have your attention now? Now, $500, $600, $700 a year requires about $15,000 to $20,000 invested to cover. That's a large chunk of money. I don't care who you are. That's a 5-digit chunk of money. I tell everyone the economy's lovely during the Super Bowl. That's the fucked up part about my job, progressive Democrat. I'm literally cutting ads to shape thoughts. It's funny you mention that, but the economy is doing really well in the United States. What country right now has a better economy? Here in South Carolina, for instance, the unemployment rate is 2.9%. We can't hire enough people. Inflation, still pretty fucking low by the sound of things. Real talk, inflation's come all the way back down. It's not perfect, but it's gotten a lot better, and it's a lot better here than it is basically anywhere else in the world. Wages are still going up. The economy is doing pretty well, actually. I don't see any problem with that. So, I mean, like look at where U.S. unemployment rates are right now. They haven't been this low for this long since the 60s. I mean, even in the Clinton years, the booms of the 90s, they weren't this good. Now, do I think the Federal Reserve could have done a better job than it has? I guess, but the Federal Reserve doesn't control the out-of-control deficit spending that stimulated this inflation. The Federal Reserve doesn't control that. The Federal Reserve could have probably raised rates faster than they did, but they finally made the tough decision, and higher interest rates probably were necessary to slow down inflation, and it looks like they have. So all in all, yeah, I'd say things are doing pretty well here. So how else did I get this? Let's talk about cars, all right? If you can avoid having an automobile, that is a fantastic way to jack up your savings rate overnight. Now, if you live in the United States, this is not realistic for a large chunk of the country. Living here in rural South Carolina, literally I could not get to I literally would get turned away at the gates if I tried going in a bicycle. And the only route to get there is a 55-mile-an-hour road with no shoulders. So it would be unsafe for me to do that. So, okay, damn, well I have to have a car then. If you have to have a car, I recommend picking an efficient one, and I do glare. You guys are not going to be able to see that. But, I mean, you guys have seen what a Chevy Volt looks like. It's a compact, or, well, if you live in Europe, mid-size, plug-in hybrid or electric car. I believe that GM actually did sell this overseas as a Vauxhall and an Opel. It was called the Ampera. But it's brilliant. Mine's got about 50 miles. You know, if it's colder, 40 miles. If it's warmer, 50, 55 miles of electric range. And I have a 4-cylinder gasoline engine that gets me 40 to 45 miles per gallon. That's 40 to 45 miles per gallon US. It's something like 50 to 55 imperial. You know, when I run out of electricity. Love Will, my car is $2,000 at 0.1%. If you bought your car for, wait, are you saying your car payments are $2,000 a month? Jesus Christ, man, what are you driving? I mean, look, you're making the kind of money to where, by all means, do that, but why? I have a feeling, I do have a feeling if your advertising compatriots saw how I live, they're like, what the fuck is this crazy ass? An NSX, you drive, are we talking a 90s NSX and you bought it used as an investment or a 2017 Acura NSX? That's a beautiful car, I love the NSX, but at the same time, $2,000 a month is a lot. I mean, that's literally, you're spending more on a car payment than I am on my entire existence. By a factor of 33% more, actually. That's incredible. 2022, that's a lovely car. By the way, I'm still driving my 04 Camry and loving that baby till it gives out. The Toyota Camry. It's a beige mobile, but it's one of the most reliable ones ever produced. damn good automobile. Especially if you get the 4-cylinder, even better if you can find one with a manual transmission. Well, I'm a huge car guy. For the longest time, I wanted an Alfa Romeo 4C because it's just a thing of beauty. But I've also done the math on how much it would cost me to own such a vehicle. As a matter of fact, my dear father passed away in 2020. He had a 2017 Shelby Mustang GT350. That car has the famous Voodoo 5.2 liter flat plane crank V8, which you can rev the nuts off of like it was a Ferrari engine, and it sounds incredible. But I did the math on what it would take for me to insure that, what it would take for me to fuel it, what it would take for me to park it, what it would take for me to drive it, and what it would take for me to pay for it. And the numbers were terrible. Didn't add up. And I already had a car that worked perfectly fine and was, you know, okay, yes, is my Volt the most exciting car in the world? No, but it's a lot more fun than, say, a Prius. 300 pound-foot of torque at 0 RPM, it means it's got a good little get up and go from about 0 to 40, which realistically on a day-to-day basis is all I'm doing anyway. I don't have, let's see, Gal Auras. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. Let me go ahead and move the bar over here. But you're paying for that. I mean, if you've looked at the depreciation curve, you've looked at what you're paying for insurance, you're looking at what you're paying for fuel economy, for fuel. Actually, an NSX is probably reasonably efficient because I believe it's a hybrid, the newer ones are. So you probably aren't doing that bad for fuel. But I'm sure you have to, you gotta plug it in. I'm kind of surprised in a place like Evanston, you're able to drive it 12 years around. I wouldn't be surprised if you also had a winter beater, which is also a consideration to have. Although in Evanston, I'm also kind of surprised, frankly, that you don't have public transit. Isn't there a train service that takes you in from Evanston to downtown Chicago? Which I would assume that's what you'd be doing, but maybe not. Either way, I'm quite surprised by. Hey, look, you do, yep. So you got two cars, which means you've got two insurance to pay for. You've got two cars to maintain, two cars to put fuel in. And granted, they're both Acuras, so they will last a long time. They're a lot more affordable to maintain than a European brand. So good on you for that. But still, that is as long as you're okay with. So what you got to do is you got to acknowledge that is an entirely optional expense that I have right now that is costing me the better part of probably 30 grand a year when you factor in, insurance, gasoline, car payments, all of that. Because, right, the NSX is a depreciating asset. It's a very pretty car, and it is incredible to drive, I'm sure. But almost every single car out there is a depreciating asset. Very few cars actually hold their value over the life of the car. And even cars that nowadays are worth a lot of money, we're talking about, muscle cars, Boss Mustangs and Barracudas and such. For the most part, if you had taken that equivalent money, plus all the money you'd have needed to keep maintaining the car over those 40, 50 years, and put that money into the stock market, you'd have done far better. That's the ironic part. It's hard to beat. It is really hard to beat. You go to all S&P 500, I tell you that much. I'm going to do some abs while we continue talking finances. So let's talk a little bit more about this figure. What else? Internet, right? I could go and get the gigabit internet. But even to stream to you guys, the quality's reasonably good, so it's not necessary. So I got the 500 meg, and I split it amongst 3 roommates, so I'm only paying $33 a month for internet. Phone service. I have a $150 refurbed Motorola G8 Power. It's a perfectly adequate phone. I don't need the best and brightest. Nobody needs the best and brightest. Think about what the best and brightest was 5 years ago. That's the phone I have now. As it turns out, we all got along just fine in 2018, right? You live on the trailing edge of technology. You can do it for 75% less. Phone service. I've got Mint. It's okay. I wish the service was a little bit better out here in the sticks, but I have Wi-Fi calling that I can work with most of the time anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. If you want my link for Mint, hit me up in Discord. It's a really easy way to trim, $50, $60 worth a month out of the budget. Pretty good way to go about it. Other ones, vacations. Plan your vacations out intelligently and don't go jet setting off everywhere all the time. Does Ryan Reynolds chat with you? No. Although I do get a weird Christmas card from them every year. I don't really like that. That seems like an unnecessary expense. I get that it's cutesy and it's kind of on brand for them, but I really wish Mint would take that money they spend on the Christmas cards every year and focus on improving their service and reliability. Seems like a big Mint mobile perk. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is very attractive, but that's neither here nor there. I hear the new Deadpool movie's gonna be pretty good, but I don't much do a whole lot of cake stuff. Although, as far as superhero movies go, or whatever you want to call it, Deadpool, I do like Deadpool. It's a better one than most. Just being silly. No, of course. I'm gonna do 7 abs real quick while we continue talking about this. So if you guys have got further financial questions, other spending, eating out, and food. Let's talk about food. 90% of the time you should be cooking your own food. And this has nothing even to do with money. This is about self-reliance. You should know how to cook a good meal. I think everyone, no exceptions, should know how to cook reasonably healthy, reasonably tasty, and reasonably affordable meals. It is very easy to do, and there's no reason you should not be able to do that. That's a basic function of being a human being, is to be able to cook for yourself. It's just my opinion. That's a self-reliance thing. Oh. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's see what the temp is in here before I put that on. Yeah, it's about 50 degrees in here. It's nice. And again, this is proof that I kind of have that whole walking, talking furnace thing going. I'm shirtless, it's 50 degrees in light. It's nice, a little bit warm. All right. I'm gonna do another set of 6 inches here just while we're chilling. And then eating out. Eating out should be something you don't do at bare maximum, absolute maximum you should be doing once a week. If you're eating out, especially if you're getting like DoorDash and shit, you're throwing money down the toilet. Eating out, even the cheapest meals eating out are gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5 times as expensive as cooking something for yourself at home. And the nice thing about cooking for yourself at home is you can control the ingredients. When you control the ingredients, you can control the macros. When you control the macros, you can control your diet. Eating out almost all the time will make you fatter. Very, very seldom will you go to a restaurant and make a better decision. Oh, come on. All right. Just a minute. You can do better about it. Dad drives a Rolls Royce. Mom drives a Bentley. I learned how to drive a stick on my granddad's 911. Grandma drives the biggest Lexus they make, and I make a fortune, but I'm broke. Well, perfect. We've got some ideas. I think we've already talked about a few things that you might be able to apply. I'm a huge fan, by the way, of Mr. Money Mustache. I would highly recommend taking a look at him, Love Will, in your situation as well, because he talks a little bit about reducing spending and what actually makes you happy. Save thousands more this year by only eating chicken and veggies. Totally paid for my personal training. Very good. That's the thing. Actually, I look at it, and this is how extravagant. This is how extravagant I think I spend. My spending on going out to eat was my largest. It was I think close to my largest expense this year when it all totals up. So that's what that tells me is, just how expensive eating out really is. I strongly recommend just I'm not saying stop going out to eat, but slash it. You shouldn't be going out to eat more than once a week. It's as simple as. And I guarantee you will eat better. If you cook at home, you will eat better. Because you can control it. All it takes is the most basic amount of discipline in a grocery store. I could do that in a day and not be done. I mean, that's the thing. I'll put it to you this way. My man, for my roommate's Christmas present, I took her out to a really nice chop house in downtown Columbia. That's the capital here in South Carolina. It was a fantastic meal. She had a Wagyu steak and I had a New York strip. I even ordered a glass of BullMuscle for myself, which I don't normally drink scotch. That's only on special occasions. I love a good scotch. And yes, I'm aware a glass of BullMuscle is nowhere near the most expensive scotch you can buy, but it's still fine. It tastes great. My New York strip was wet aged. Her Wagyu was dry aged. It's fantastic. Extremely tender. But that's a special occasion. You should be doing that once a year, not maybe twice a year, not once a week, and certainly not once every 2 or 3 days. I mean, that's an extremely easy way to cut down. Caramel Kisses 87. Welcome on in. Thanks for the first time chat. We go ahead and do a set of sit-ups here. That would be a very easy way to start. There's another thing too. If you're dating someone and you want to impress them, it is so much easier to make a better home-cooked meal to their taste, and it shows you care about them a great deal. And it costs a fraction of what it does to take them out to a fancy restaurant. Shows you're self-reliant too. Shows you're a better mate. Come on, 21 more. Well, 7 more. Working on it. Didn't realize my spending was an issue. I appreciate you. Look, it sounds like you're doing okay for yourself. It doesn't sound like you're spending above your means. If you were spending above your means, then yes, it's an emergency. But you seem like a really intelligent fella, and if you can find a way to even just save at your income level 20 to 30% of your income a year, you're able to do that. First off, it's going to drastically help your tax situation. Second off, it will mean you have the ability to live at fuck you very quickly. And the ability to live at fuck you is highly underrated. I promise you, I'm basically there. It says I'll be financially independent in 488 days, but the stock market was so good this year that I'm a lot closer than that. I may hit the level of fuck you officially in 2024. That's very exciting. Now, I like my job, so I'm not necessarily going to quit. But if my bosses decide to fuck around, they're going to find out really fast that I can't be screwed with. I don't know what you call the exercise where you're basically just laying face up, legs off the bench. An opposite complementary would be a Superman. Is that a helpful exercise? Oh, are you talking about the Superman? You're laying. Start here. Where you're contracting your lower back and your abs to bring your feet and your arms up. It's not my favorite exercise for the core, but it is a good one. You can do it. But that's the point. I think there's a term called the hedonic treadmill out there. And the hedonic treadmill, what it basically states is, if you know what hedonism is, hedonism's doing whatever feels good, doing whatever's pleasurable in the moment. And a little bit of that's a good thing. But the hedonic treadmill states that we very easily get used to a new normal. In the dating realm, this happens a lot where there's an old, I forget which comedian does it. It's women can never go back financially, men can never go back sexually. Once something's on the menu, it's on the menu for good, eat both sides, right? Once the guy pulls up in the Mercedes, she's never gonna go back to the guy pulling up in the Chevrolet. Once the guy, once the girl does insert kinky thing here, the guy is always going to expect every other girl after the fact to also be willing to do kinky thing here. Just for instance. That same principle applies to spending, right? If you get used to having, 50, 60, 70, $100+ dollar bottles of wine all the time, it's going to seem normal to you. And you'll lose the ability to appreciate a $20 bottle of wine, which may not necessarily be a bad wine on its own. And I can appreciate, I've had a Silver Oak before. I've had really nice wine before. I understand the difference, but to me, if you're super into wine like that, or you're super into, anything very high priced like that, it's important to ground yourself with lower priced alternatives, because when you do that, and you only break out the really nice special stuff for special occasions, it retains that value of being special. It retains the sense of, wow, I'm really treating myself. As opposed to, well, if you're constantly having the nicest, the best thing, it loses its value of being special. I guess that's the way I'd see it. Could be the reverse. We get having the Mercedes, and the gal having the Mercedes and the guy having the kink. Very seldom is it the reverse. In my experience, it tends to be, guys don't tend to care, and this is, right, so, okay, in full disclosure, I swing both ways here, but very seldom it tends to be guys who care about the income of the woman as much, and very seldom does it tend to be the woman caring about what the guy is willing to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are some kinky girls out there, but that's not their number one concern for the most part. Most women care a lot more about how a man builds their reputation. Guys care a little bit more about the physical stuff. These are speaking in very broad brushes, and this is a heteronormative statement. For the gay side of things, it's a totally different ballgame. And for the lesbian side of things, I assume it's a totally different ballgame as well. I don't understand straight people. I do. It's convoluted, but it makes sense. It's been fun, so it took me a long time to kind of come to terms with who I was, and that more than just girls were appealing to me. But that's been a fun road. That's taken some time to get used to. What's funny too, though, is I've found is that being bi is treated very differently if you're a man versus if you're a woman. Bi women, it's often, if you're a bi woman and you're dating a man, you're seen as like a traitor to the LGBT cause or whatever, which is really shitty. But then if you're a bi guy, people just say, oh, so you're gay and you just don't want to fully admit it yet, which is ridiculous. Cher, good to see you. Thank you very much for the 100 bits. Waving the pride flag there. Appreciate that. I just find the difference there very fascinating. All right, I'm gonna do a set of crunches. That's 40. 20 more. I know my back's making farting noises on the chair. Not much I can really do about that. Biphobia and bi-erasure are tall. Unfortunately, it isn't fair to put bi and pan folks at all. I still don't quite understand the difference between bi and pan. It's like, would I be interested in someone who was non-binary? Maybe. I don't know. It really depends on the person. And frankly, where I live, there are so few non-binary people to where it's really an academic question. So I've lived in rural America for long enough to where it doesn't really make much of a difference. I don't think bi-erasure is a thing. I think it's, I don't know. I think there's other reasons for that. I don't think people want to say bi people don't exist. But I definitely agree that attraction is a spectrum. I think there are people who are 100% hetero and 100% homo. I think most people are somewhere in the middle from 0 to 100, you know? Or I think it's, what, the Kinsey scale or wherever, where it's like 1 to 6 or something like that. Whatever gradient you want to use. I do think there is a gradient between 100% hetero and 100% homo. Just my opinion there. All right. I think it is time for me to take a look at the markets, and then we'll talk a little bit about stocks, I think, and then probably look to raise someone. But first, I got to take one more peek. Big bowl, tiny bladder, unfortunately. Really, it's just all the water I've been drinking. This is just how choice streams go. You talk a lot, you drink a lot of water. You drink a lot of water, you have to pee a lot. What are you gonna do? Alright. I forgot. This is how I could have prevented the farting noise on my chair, but totally forgot about that. Oh yeah. I is interested in 2 or more genders. But the physical aspects plays a role as an attraction, such as a woman's curves, a guy's facial hair. Pan folks are attracted to 2 or more genders, but the attraction is more about the personality rather than the physical aspects. Huh. Interesting. That's an interesting, I didn't realize that was the difference. Well, I learned something today. Thanks, FM. Appreciate it. I mean, for me, a personality matters, but I definitely think there are certain physical characteristics that are a requirement for me to be attracted to you. In general, you have to look like you are interested in physical fitness. Obviously, you know, weightlifting, building muscle, looking good, going outside, doing fun things that are active. It's a huge part of my life. And so I'm attracted to people who are athletic or at least physically fitness minded. Unfortunately, living in a part of the country with a near 50% obesity rate, this makes dating challenging. The dating pool here is bad. There's no other way of sugarcoating it. It's atrocious. I do appreciate you explaining the difference to me, FM, because I never really did know that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. We'll do that, and then probably look to rate someone. This over here. Oh, I did have protein shakes. I need to write that down in here. 380 calories, 64 grams of protein, 7 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbs. Very nice. Oh, so let's see what the market has for us. How are we looking on the final trading day of 2023, Mr. Market? We've got, give it an update here, let it load. Ooh, we got ourselves a red day. All right. Looks like S&P's down about 25, Dow is down about 150, NASDAQ is down about 126. So, looks good there. Ooh. Well, that's a huge deal. All right, one of my companies that I'm keeping an eye on for buying is Re Automotive. They're my swing for the fences, high risk, high reward type pick. Demito Mayo, can you do the peck pop thing? If you look, Demito, if you look in your the bottom left of chat, you can see that I do peck bounces for 1,000 channel points. So if you get 1,000 channel points, redeem that option, I will do it. But yes, I can. And the answer is, if you really want to be able to learn how to do pec bounces, I recommend a dumbbell bench press, because that requires control of the individual pec muscles to get it up. Once you do that, it's just, imagine you're dumbbell bench pressing something, but only one weight at a time. So you could do, if you wanted to dumbbell bench, you go alternate. Stuff like that. Is there a pec bounce? There you go. Someone did it for you. I know what you guys are after. There you go. Shoku, thank you very much. It's the first time chat. Welcome on in. Stuck a piece of gum on my buttocks. Good for you. Easy. Charleston Farmers Market's looking rough. Not a lot of food traffic. 3 different tomato vendors showed up today. Meanwhile, the crafter market in West Columbia seems to be doing well, with crochet crafts selling particularly well. The issue here is that I live an hour and a half from Columbia and 2.5 hours from Charleston. I really do kind of live out in the sticks. Again, for those of you who can't figure out where I work in the nuclear industry in South Carolina. That kind of narrows it down. As far as other bets are concerned, so I'm going to take a look at maybe selling off 1 or 2 other items for tax loss harvesting this year. Otherwise, I see Re Automotive is below $5 a share, which means it is strong buy for me. For those of you who don't know, it's my high risk, high reward play. I know you're automatically going to say, okay, this is a meme. Looks like a meme stock, and in some ways it is, on the basis that you just know that if Wall Street Bets gets a hold of this, it's going fucking bonkers. But safety instruction for nuclear facilities. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm a nuclear engineer. So as far as Re Automotive is concerned, yeah, it's a meme stock in the sense of it's got a meme kind of ticker, but the underlying product is really good. What they have is they've taken a drive-by-wire and steer-by-wire system and applied it to a cargo van platform, which means you no longer have drivetrain components, things like a prop shaft, things like a big transmission tunnel, things like engine components under the hood. All those drivetrain components have been pushed out to the corners into integrated hubs, which means the packaging efficiency of a van can be much, much better, 20 to 30% better. The company's name is Re Automotive. So if you guys are interested, it's about $5 a share right now. The market cap's only 50 mil. They already have 43 million worth of book orders in 2024, and they have $100 million in cash reserves. I invested in Workhorse. The difference between Workhorse and Re is that Re already has models going out for testing and for sale. Re already has the patent on drive-by-wire and steer-by-wire. Not even Tesla has that. And Re has multiple production facilities, which means even with their current orders, if they sell nothing more, they will break even for 2024. They're expecting $1 billion of cumulative sales between 2024 and 26. So assuming sales ramp up, you're going to be looking at probably 400 to 500 mil by 2026, which is still only maybe 1% of the total market that they're looking to aim for. I think they can get a 1% share extremely easily. In fact, I think they'll get quite a lot more than that. And if they do, we're talking about a market cap of probably 10 times what it is now, which is a $40 to $50 stock price. It's currently at $5, and based on how badly it's crashed, I think it's a really good buy. Well, must buy a minimum number of shares and getting in the market? Yes, like a minimum of 100. No, you can buy one share if you want to for $5 right now. I think the price is like $4.94. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of the company. It is a risk. There is a chance that sales just don't materialize. And if that's the case, the stock price probably goes to zero and they go bust. But that's why I don't put the majority of my money into one stock. Obviously, I'm diversified through lots and lots of index funds. But this is my swing for the fences stock. You can buy fractional shares in most stocks on brokers. Of course, if the stock price is $5 and you can't afford one share, I have some questions. So you can own a fraction of, yes, Berkshire Hathaway. Company here we're talking about is RE Automotive. So let's see here. I'll just write a few things out about it. So I'll put pros and cons here. So the first pro I want to talk about is the underlying tech. I've seen other players in this space. None of them have integrated everything into the corner the same way that RE has, and as a result, downtime will be lower, packaging efficiency will be higher, and the overall vehicle will be more reliable than other competitors because, okay, let's say one of the RE corner modules breaks. Well, all you have to do is swap it out with a new one, just buy a spare module or two, fix the module while the other four are keeping the van in service. It's gonna make downtime go through the fucking floor compared to a conventional vehicle, say a Chevrolet Express, or even a Rivian, where if something goes wrong, the entire van is out of commission, right? Swapping a corner module, it's a little bit more intensive than a tire job, but it's not that much more than a tire job. So that's the first benefit. Second one is, at the moment, RE Automotive has no debt compared to any of the other players in this space that are trying to start out. Workhorse, Mullen, even Rivian, they have debt. RE is currently debt-free. And I promise you, I'm gonna go ahead and put cons over here because we will address some cons, okay? I will 100% do that. Odds of RE being acquired by someone else, pretty good, but if they acquire them, it's gonna be for a lot more than $5 a share. I can promise you that. Next pro, it is RE claims they can break even for EBITDA on the first batch. That's huge in the automotive industry. Once you've paid off initial capital costs, if you're able to break even by the end of the first batch, that means 2025 and 2026, this company should be posting a profit, which is a huge deal for a startup. Rivian isn't making money right now. Hell, Tesla wasn't making profits until what, 2019, 2020? So that's huge. Other ones. Scalable factories. They already have a production facility in the United Kingdom, and they're building one, I believe it's pretty much done, in Pflugerville, Texas, right outside the Tesla plant, which means they're gonna have access to plenty of talent. So they're gonna be able to ramp up if more sales come in, which means they can provide for any sales that come through. No doubt how they get so much funding, we'll get to the cons on that one because yes, that there is a con to that. All right. Last pro though. Last pro, EPA certified, because they are built in a large chunk of the modules will be built in the United States. They do get U.S. federal tax credits for buying the vehicle, which means that gives them an advantage relative to other players in the space. So these are all your pros. There are more pros, but let's get into the cons real quick. The first and most obvious one is, how did RE get that kind of money? to start with, why does RE not have any debt? And it's because they're a de-SPAC. Okay, the SPAC boom went bust in 2022 in a spectacular fashion. And if you look at RE's long-term performance, it's fucking awful. They have not been able to match the expectations that were placed on them in 2021. Of course, if you bought into RE pre-SPAC, RE made no claims that they were going to be able to start producing vehicles any earlier than 2024. So if you thought RE was going to be a profitable company in 2022, that's a little bit more on you than it is on RE, because they never made that claim. No, they did not get it from the mob, but they got all their funding from a SPAC. So the SPAC is a special purpose acquisition company. Basically, it's, for lack of a better term, it's an IPO for companies that couldn't hack it with an IPO. Now, RE did their de-SPAC right before the stock market went into a bear market in 2022. In other words, they're a growth company. At this point, when they went SPAC, they were pre-revenue, right? They're only just beginning to start getting revenue now. They're just beginning their sales now. So the last few years, they've posted no revenue. In a high interest rate environment, that is going to be a death warrant for a stock price. So this is not a company you should be looking for short-term flips on. It's very volatile, so you might be able to get that, but that works in two ways, which brings us to our second con, volatility, all right? If you just look at, say, the last 3 to 5 months of this stock price, it has done that. It has been going up, it has been going down. I think over the course of just November alone, we bottomed out around $4 a share, actually a little bit less, and then topped out over $7 a share. That is a huge amount of volatility because it's got a very low market cap. Because it's got a low market cap, that means you can see double-digit swings. Now, if you are perhaps an options trader and you like volatile stocks, that could be a pro for you. But for most people, they're going to see that and be like, "Ooh, that's not ideal." One final con for this is going to be, right? All of these pros don't mean shit if you can't sell the product. Now, I believe RE is going to sell the product. That's why I put money into it. So if you don't believe that they have an underlying product that can drum up sales, well, don't buy the stock, because you would believe that if they can't sell the product, they're going to go bust. That's a fair thing to wonder. Fool me once, shame on RE. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's pretty funny. I'm a fan of RE up, we up. Today is RE down, well, RE down, me down anyway. But the point here is sales ultimately is the bottom line. Are they going to be able to sell their product? I think they will be. They've got connections with, I think, about a dozen different dealers at this point. I expect a fairly large fleet sales announcement in 2024. Their order book currently only has 43 million worth of orders on it. So $43 million worth of orders is about the current market cap of the company. Market cap's around 40 to 45 million right now. So if you think the company with $100 million worth of asset, $100 million worth of cash and $43 million worth of book orders is going to go bankrupt, then yes, a $5 stock price makes sense. However, if you're like me and you think they're probably going to get more in the way of sales, then this is such a huge sale price. This is horrendously undervalued. And this is going to be the other factor. Macroeconomic trends. Now, this can work as a two-way street, but if interest rates remain high or get higher, it's going to be a lot harder for a company like this to borrow to ramp up production if they do get more sales. However, I think interest rates will fall a little bit in 2024. It seems to me as though the market is agreeing as much. The Federal Reserve has mentioned cutting interest rates a little bit, back down to the 4s, maybe even into the 3s, depending on how the economic data comes out. But if inflation ticks back up in 2024, you may see higher interest rates. Higher interest rates will damage companies just trying to get started. So that's a factor as well. There's sort of my thesis on it. I'm extremely bullish. I will say this company is a buy between $5 to $30, a strong buy below $5. I believe if anywhere below $30 is a fucking steal for this company. Even at a $30 stock price, right? A $30 stock price would at the current market cap, assuming they don't dilute, which they may have to, if they can't find external creditors during production ramp up. But even at a market cap of, or at a share price of 30, that is a market cap of only, I think, $200 to $250 million. If they're going to have 1 billion in cumulative sales, even if they only have half of that, you're going to have a price to sales ratio that's pretty reasonable, especially for a brand new company, and you're even going to have a pretty decent price to earnings ratio. So to me, I think anything below $30 is a huge buy. I think anything below $5 is a screaming deal. Just the volatility alone, it'll swing back up over 5 eventually, and then you can flip it for a 20 or $30% profit. So if you're looking to swing trade REIT, it's below $5 today, you know, throw a few shares on, might be worth it. Where would I look to sell? No earlier than fiscal year 26. I'm in this company for the long run. I think it's going to be viable. I think it's going to be successful. And as a result, I'm going to hold on to this stock until 2026 at the minimum. When would I look to sell it? The only reason I would look to sell it is if the X factor happens. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to think, all right, Wall Street Bets is fairly fucking stupid. There are people on there who would buy this stock just because the ticker is a meme name. They would buy it, literally say, wow, it's literally, the ticker name is literally RE. I'm going to fucking buy shares of it just for poops and giggles, or buy just an ass ton of calls on it, which could create a very rapid increase because of the low market cap on the stock price. If that happens, I'm going to cash out. But if I were to sell and they make good on all their promises and they don't have to dilute shares, minimum $75 a share. This is my home run though. This is my swing for the fences. This could very easily go to zero. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say this is a low risk stock. It's not. But I could see, frankly, quite a lot higher than 75. I could see this as a triple digit stock if they can continue to get the sales. That's the big part of this. I'm bullish. There's my thesis. So if you guys want more information on this stock, let me know. I can do ones for other stocks, but this is probably my big high risk play. Now, only a very small part of my portfolio is invested in this stock. The majority of my money is invested in VTI, in VB, in VXUS, in broad-based index funds, because that's a much more conservative approach. This is my play money. This is where my stock, this is where my, see if I can't pick a winner kind of stock is coming from. And I've got other plays that I've talked about on this channel, but this is the big one. And because it's under $5 today, it's a strong buy. So there you go. That's my pitch. If you guys are curious about how much I have, I'll tell you, but there we go. That's my opinion. I still believe in this stock. I've seen the stock fall. I've seen the stock rise, but there you go. Anywho, I think that's going to be about it for the show. So what are we doing the next few days? Tomorrow we have a squat show. We're going to do squats, and then on tomorrow afternoon I'm going to be doing a truth or drink stream. This is where you guys can ask me a question, any question you want, as explicit as you wish to ask it, and I will answer, or I will tell you the truth, or I will tell you I will take a drink. keeping racy comments to myself, and ending the year with such good behavior. Well, the good news is, as far as more explicit commentary, that's what the Truth of Drink stream is for. It will be on my Discord tomorrow afternoon. Sunday morning is a rest day. So we are going to talk about my 2023 goals, how I did, my 2024 goals, what I want to do, and then we're going to have a big party because I am going to get 99 smithing on RuneScape. So for those of you who like my RuneScape content, don't miss Sunday morning, okay? Okay, awesome. So if we've got any final comments, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, we're going to look to raid someone. We got Color Runnings, we got Limitless, we got, oh yeah, we're raiding Big Game Mikey's on. I want to get this fool to affiliate, or I want to get this fool to affiliate, y'all. So stick around and please, if you can, lurk on his channel and make sure to refresh the page when you get there, so that way Twitch counts all of those views. Okay. So we're gonna raid Big Game Mikey. Raid message, as always, is Bull Rush. That is going to be it for me today. Please, 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 y'all, keep watching. Help him get his viewer average up to 3. This dude deserves affiliate. He's trying to go through a job transition right now. He's teaching himself new skills, and I want to see this guy succeed. So spread the love. Definitely stick around on that front. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today, y'all. So in conclusion, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your habits. Those habits form your values. And those values form an ethos to be the guide star through the rough waters of life. You've made it to the end of this stream. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll see you on the Discord in between now and then. And come in for the hug. Big bull hug. Let's go. Always love it. Oh, it makes me feel so good.